Hello, hello, nobody. If anybody's out there, I'm just doing audio because I might actually hop back on later. I found that part in the Idaho 4 case that I was looking for last night, guys. I found it. So I have a theory about maybe what happened after hearing if the DoorDash driver really did see him. But anyway, so what I was going to do is I was going to go over these new interviews that came out. I think it was today. Um, I wanted to come on earlier, before everybody already saw all of them, and I see there's a few channels already playing them, but, um, I'm not gonna let it stop me. So, there's a few new interviews for the Karen Reed stuff that I wanted to play, and then I was gonna combine it with the, Brian Koberger stuff and not do open piano, but then I was like, "You know what?" Because I didn't shower yet, and I wanna wash my hair, so I said, "You know what? I'll do this one first, then go shower and come back and do the open panel and show you guys that part of the document that I was talking about." So yeah, that's the plan, Stan. Hey, Mrs. Wild. Hey, Diana. Okay, so guys, how many? Oh, Jenna RN. How many of you guys saw the what am I saying? The interviews, the juror. Okay, so juror number 11, she's done like 4 or 5 interviews, and now I see Vinny's having her on too. She is just making her rounds. So I was gonna play all the interviews out so far with her. There's one written one, and I think 3 or 4 video ones. And then I want to play the Jen McCabe, the McCabes and the Alberts interview. Have you guys seen that one? And then I want to play there's a new like quick little 3-minute sit down with Karen Reed's parents, both parents. And then there's one with her brother. And then I don't there's a bunch of stuff I want to show, but and then I don't know, since I haven't been following this as close as some, so I don't know if this has already been out and talked about, but I found Proctor's um his basically what do you call it? I don't even know what you would call it, but why he lost his job and stuff. And it's like a 2-page thing that explains it. Have you guys seen that? I thought I'd read that too. So talking about like what he was guilty of and why he lost his job, Trooper Proctor. So I'm not sure if you guys seen that. That might be something that's been out for a while. I mean, it's from March, but I don't know. The document is written in March, but I don't know if it's something that's been spread around, or maybe it's something that maybe that not a lot of people have talked about. So it might be new for you. And also, I found the little thing where it says the judge was the person of the year. You guys weren't joking. When I first heard that yesterday, I thought it was like some kind of joke because how horrible she's been, like some kind of sarcasm, like, "Oh, person of the year." And then I know that you guys told me you were serious last night. Yeah, it's serious. Are you freaking kidding me? Okay, so what do you guys want to watch first? Let's do I feel like I want to just start out big and go with the go with the McCabe's and Alberts. Is my mom yelling my name? Don't dox me. Hello. And Marnie and Jen RN, veteran. Mrs. Wild. Hey, Debbie. Okay. Yeah, let's start with that one. Oh, I didn't even check my mic and mic. Whoa, it's low this time. This is the first time it was low. Hold on, let me turn it up a little bit. Okay. That's crazy. Usually it's way up. First ever low. Okay. Go big. Yeah, I want to go big. You gotta go big. You gotta go big. All right. Let's do it. Let's do it. All right, so we're doing the McCabe full or is that it? Families. Yep, here it is. Okay. Okay, hold on. YouTube. Okay, so this is ABC. Alrighty, guys, let's do it. Let's just do it. Okay. How many people have seen this? One, you know how I do it. One's always yes and two's always no. If you've seen this interview, I like to know. So I'm gonna play it, and as I play it, answer if you've seen this yet. All right, here we go. I know there are. There's like more well, because when the trial was going on, there really wasn't much like this kind of stuff. But now, like after what 2 years of freaking, watching the trial and the retrial, now I feel like maybe they feel more comfortable to come out and well, I don't know now because they freaking opened an investigation. If you hear the juror, especially this juror that came out, juror number 11, sounds like she's thinking something happened in that house. So they better be careful. And I just want to point out one more thing. Where's little Brian Higgins at here? Shouldn't he be in this little interview group? Why isn't he there? I think he should be there. What does he have to say? All right, here we go.
Let us down at every turn. And yesterday,
wait, hold on, that cut off in the middle. Hold on, we'll go. Here we go.
the criminal justice system has let us down at every turn. And yesterday was the final letdown. And that's why we're here, because there's nobody left to stand up for us.
Think real long and hard before you're a witness in a case, because no one protects you. And it's very, very sad.
For the first time, some of the key players in the Karen Reed trial sitting down for an exclusive interview. His friend, Jennifer McCabe, and her husband, Matt, former Boston police sergeant Brian Albert, and his wife, Nicole, and his brother, Chris Albert. All 5 of them pulled into the center of this high-profile case and now speaking out.
And I think the reason we all stayed quiet is because we were just witnesses. This is a thing that we had nothing to do with.
We did the civic duty, came and told the truth, and that's it.
Free Karen Reed!
It's the case that has captivated the country and divided a town. Karen Reed, accused of killing her Boston police officer boyfriend, John O'Keefe, hitting him with her SUV and leaving him to die in a blizzard.
Not guilty. Not guilty.
Now, after a second trial, a jury acquitting her of the most serious charges, second-degree murder and manslaughter. And hundreds of supporters in pink, Karen Reed's favorite color, cheering as the verdict came down yesterday.
I could not be standing here without these amazing supporters.
People turned this thing into a tailgate party, it looked like, some days. Board games, cornhole, cookouts. This is a guy that was murdered, and it's atrocious for that family.
While the prosecutors blamed Reed for O'Keefe's death, the defense said this group of family members framed Reed to cover up what really happened that night, ever since their lives becoming open season for endless conspiracy theories.
What they've done is they've dehumanized us to the sense where we're not real people. We're almost like caricatures. We're pawns.
Have each of you been called murderers? Like actual murderers?
Oh, yeah, on a daily basis.
Anybody who's touched this case has been called a murderer at some point.
And anyone who's friends with us support cop killers. Yeah.
After 3+ years, the saga wrapped up yesterday. Reed captured celebrating at dinner with her father, and today seen walking with her attorney, Alan Jackson.
I didn't even know I'd be here today, so I had no plans.
Meanwhile, O'Keefe's family and friends struggling with the verdict.
I'm just sad for John's family and what happened yesterday, and I feel like they didn't get justice for him, and our lives just changed forever.
Why speak out now after the verdict?
We took what we thought was the high road.
Right.
Let the court do its job.
After a night of hanging out at a local bar in a brutal 2022 blizzard, Brian and his wife Nicole hosted a late-night gathering at their home. An invitation had been extended to Reed and O'Keefe, but Brian Albert says neither of them ever entered his home that night. O'Keefe was found lying unconscious in the snow of Albert's front lawn. He was pronounced dead at the hospital hours later. The defense's theory? A violent altercation at the Alberts' home, possibly involving other members of law enforcement.
Did John ever come in the house?
Never. No.
You never saw John O'Keefe in the house, right?
Never.
Never.
These are people in your own community who believe the conspiracy theories, who believe that there were other law enforcement officials and agents involved in this. Why is it people in your own community who believe these conspiracy theories?
You do realize for this conspiracy to be true, it would take 30 to 50 people. You'd have to have multiple cops on 2 different police departments, multiple civilians, the medical examiner, firemen, EMTs, you name it. That's how preposterous and silly this is. And great question. I don't understand how people bought this.
Brian Albert says he and Nicole only found out about John's death when Jen McCabe, who is Nicole's sister, barged into their bedroom.
She was just upset, and I immediately thought something had happened to one of her children or one of my children, because why else is she in my bedroom at 6:30 in the morning right now?
And what did she tell you?
She said, John's out front. I think John's dead out front. I said, what the are you talking about, Jen? And I'm like, who? I didn't know.
You still didn't piece it
I
together.
didn't understand what she was talking about, because why would John be out front of my house?
So massively confusing. There are police officers, EMTs on your front lawn. You're an officer. Why don't you just go outside and investigate or take a look?
I'm not a Canton police officer. I'm a Boston police officer. I was just woken up out of a cold sleep from hanging out the night before. By the time I came downstairs, the police were already in my house. John was already gone. There was nobody to save. I would have taken a bullet for John O'Keefe because he was a fellow cop. That's the most ridiculous question that people always ask. It makes 0 sense. What am I supposed to?
Just have to interrupt here. What makes 0 sense, buddy, is the fact that you just said you take a bullet for him, but you couldn't even go out there and try to save him. That's what makes no sense. You're just saying that you would take a bullet for this guy, right? He's out there needing possible life, CPR. I mean, you don't know if he could be saved. And you won't go out there and put your coat and boots on and go out there and try to save him, but you'll take a bullet from him. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Are you kidding me? I can't believe he just said that. Like, that makes no sense. No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't even go try to give him CPR because you couldn't leave your precious house. Well, we know why, I'm sure. I mean, allegedly, there's some reasons, you know what I'm saying? But like, that just makes no sense.
To do run out front my underwear and start running yellow tape around.
No, we're not asking you to run yellow tape. We're asking you don't have to run out in your underwear. Put some clothes on. This is a guy you said you take a bullet for, which would put you in the hospital and possibly die. So I'm sure you could put some clothes on for him too, and a coat, and then you could go out and you don't have to run tape, but you could go check on your friend. You go check and see what's going on. That's all. You don't have to put no tape. Nobody asked you to put tape. You go check on them and maybe call the cops, make sure that they're coming and just be there, make sure that everybody's out there. You're the one that knows how to do CPR better than everybody out there. Oh my God.
On the fire hydrant.
Over the course of the night, Reed called and texted John 52 times. She then called Jen asking for help to find John. Karen previously telling me she and John had gotten into an argument that night.
Would you say that you were angry with John that night?
Yes.
Could you have been angry enough and slightly drunk because he had annoyed you that in the fit of rage you just backed up and
Never.
tried to tap him?
Would
Not
never
to try to kill him, but try to
tap him with my 6,000-pound full-size SUV, to hit John's body with my car. No.
I spoke with a juror tonight who told me she believes a collision did not occur.
Overall, a lot of the evidence had caused reasonable doubt, and that was enough for us not to convict.
A little after 6 a.m., Karen found John's body in the snow. Jen called 911.
911, what's emergency?
There's a man passed out in the snow.
Hello?
But what raised eyebrows at Reed's trial was a defense theory about a Google search Jen had made about how long it takes to die in the cold. The defense claiming she searched it before O'Keefe's body was found.
So much has been made about that Google search that morning. Was it at 6 a.m. or was it at 6:27 a.m.? How long to die in the cold? What's your answer?
She asked me to do it at outside of Fairview at 6:20, whatever it was. Doesn't matter how much I say about it, people will not believe it.
The group also hoping to clear up rumors regarding the Alberts dog.
Hold on, I got to see something. Did you see how she looked over at when she said that? Hold on a second. Let me watch that again.
Chloe.
Fairview at 6:20, whatever it was. Doesn't matter how much.
Wait, hold on, let me rewind it a little bit more.
Or was it at 6:27 a.m.? How long to die in the cold? What's your answer?
She asked me to do it at outside of Fairview at
Right there. That was a weird. She looked over. Hold on, who's to the left of her? Is that her husband or is that the Albert? Like over to. I mean, they panned at him, so I don't know if it's Chris Albert that's actually who she looks over at or not.
6:20, whatever it was.
I'll show you guys again. To me, that's kind of like where she's double. You know what I'm saying? Like where you involuntary because you went over it with these guys so much of what to say and almost like a double to check. You know what I'm saying? To make sure, like, is every okay? Right? Is this good? Watch.
Was it at 6 a.m. or was it at 6:27 a.m.? How long to die in the cold? What's your answer?
She asked me to do it at outside of Fairview at 6:20, whatever it was.
Like she almost like she did her head like, yep, I got this. You know, that's weird. It has nothing to do with any of these other people. That was between you and Karen. You don't need to look over at the Alberts. That has nothing to do with them. That was your experience with Karen, you know, so that's kind of weird.
Doesn't matter how much I say about it, people will not believe it.
The group also hoping to clear up rumors regarding the Alberts' dog, Chloe, who had been rehomed after the incident. The defense claimed the dog was involved in O'Keefe's death.
Those wounds were inflicted as the result of a dog attack. Those marks are from teeth.
They've known for 2 years where Chloe is. The state shared it with them.
So if they wanted to take DNA evidence from Chloe the dog and match it to possible DNA evidence on John O'Keefe, they could have matched it.
Absolutely.
But now with the trial behind them, they say they're still faced with threats against them and their families, but hope to continue calling this community their home.
You get down, you get depressed, and it's like, but this is the town we like grew up in. Like, we didn't do anything wrong. We all contributed to our town. We love our town. Why should we have to go anywhere?
Yeah, CeeLo. I was writing this out to you. I don't agree with the whole real life and them going after their real life or anything. I don't agree with that, but that's not what I'm doing. We're allowed to express our opinions on this, and it's not abuse. Like what we're doing right now. I'm giving my opinion on an interview. That's not abuse. I would never go straight to them or try to attack them or anything. So, you know, I don't agree with people attacking them or anything, but what we're doing online, we're allowed to give our opinions on what we think of their interview or what we think about the trial and what we think about the case. That's far from abuse. So hopefully you're not trying to direct that at me, because this is not abuse. This is just our giving our opinions, which we are allowed to do. Okay, so obviously I hate how news channels or they do this kind of stuff where they'll play like a few minutes here and then maybe on another episode they play a couple more minutes, and a lot of the times you can't find the whole freaking interview together. I don't understand why that. But that's that for right now. I'll keep looking to see if they release any more parts, because obviously they have to have more than that. So they'll probably release another part some other time or on their website or something. I'll keep checking. Okay, so that's that. What did you guys think? All right, so now let's do one of the interviews with juror number 11, I think it is, because she has a few. Okay. Okay, so here's one of them.
What made you come forward to actually share your experience about being a juror in this high-profile case?
I actually want to give a message to the family, make them understand that, or at least hear us out saying it's not our fault that Karen Reed was innocent. I mean, the Commonwealth and the investigation couldn't actually prove and show evidence enough to make us convict her of anything. So I want to come out to let them know that we feel for them. Like, I personally feel for them a lot. I'm a mother, and it broke my heart to see the family leaving the courthouse on that day. But wasn't her fault, and I hope they find who did it.
Let's talk about the verdict and how you guys came to this conclusion.
At first, most of us were on the same page pretty much. We were shocked with so many holes the case presented to us. But there was some people who had questions, and we were there those 4 days to answer those questions. Where a heated argument, like, oh my God, we disagree and everything, no. But we had some disagreements about this evidence X or Y, and we talked through it. We were very respectful of each other, and we came out to the agreement.
Was there any particular evidence that you guys were really stumped on?
For me, specifically the taillight, we all took a look close to the taillight, and we couldn't make the taillight, the damage on the taillight, the original taillight, compatible with the injuries on his body. Mm-hmm. So having a close look of the taillight helped me a lot, and I'm sure the other jurors too.
And that solidified it?
Yeah.
And you mentioned who might have done this. I know David Yannetti, her attorney, said, there's somebody else out there that is responsible. Do you have any ideas who could be responsible, or do you feel the same way as you sort of suggested you do?
Yeah, I think something happened inside the house and he was placed outside. So whoever was inside the house, we didn't hear from the owner of the house or Brian Higgins, who allegedly had some sort of, involvement with Karen Reed days prior. So, the spotlight for me is on them, but I can't say, just like if they can't prove that was Karen Reed, I can't prove it was any of the people in the house.
Can you quickly clarify what happened when you guys came out with a verdict and then said, oh, actually no verdict? There was a little point.
Yeah, we had some questions about the sleep and how to.
Oh, the sleep.
Yeah, if we did right. And we sent back, and we didn't even send back. Was in a deliberation room with us, but then because the judge knew that we had the verdict, she asked to seal the paper and bring it to her.
Is that the situation where she came back and said there was a verdict, and then less than 30 minutes, like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We talked maybe, I think, an hour more, and then
I'm still not, both jurors aren't really explaining that very well on what happened there. That doesn't even make sense either. Or is it because they're scared? Because you'll hear in one of her interviews where the judge supposedly told them not to discuss with anyone what they discussed in the jury room or whatever. She says that in one of the interviews. Are they like afraid to say, maybe because what the judge said? I don't know, but that wasn't that clear either. I want to know what happened. I know it was that OUI, but was it because they originally had her innocent for it, or they were still debating on it? I'm still a little bit confused on that.
Came with the other verdict.
What were you guys split on, and how many of you guys were split on certain parts of this verdict?
I think, we're half and a half as when we first got there. Like Friday, last Friday we didn't do anything. We were just we all want to talk, put it out, because too many days without talking about it. And Monday we start to look into the evidence, the witnesses, and the videos, and the taillight close. And we're kind of half and a half, and we had to see which questions, what make you be guilty, what make you feel not guilty for this charge and the other charge. And wasn't that hard, I think we are very respectful. We heard, and everybody left feeling that they did the right thing.
And how has your life changed since you've been part of this experience? I know it's still pretty early after, but has anything changed about your viewpoint toward justice or the justice system?
Yeah.
Since then?
So a lot of people were raising this thing, oh, she's an attorney, she shouldn't be a jury, and this and that. Just clarifying, I'm an attorney from Brazil. My license is in Brazil. I never work in the U.S. I can't practice in the U.S. And I didn't lie when they chose me to be a jury. And nothing changed so far. I did like to be part of this because for me, most of the time I'm a mom. I do have a part-time job, but from home because I have to take care of my kids. So being out every day, being there every day, getting this routine of working outside the house, actually, I really enjoy it. And being in a courtroom made me feel like the old days when I was young. So the change was just my personal opinion about like what I'm gonna do next. But overall, I'm just waiting for summer to start and take my kids out and get this behind. And just I'm gonna keep following close because I want to see what's gonna happen. I want to see what's the DA gonna do next. I didn't have a chance to check the news and if they said anything.
I am so curious about this. When did you realize the gravity of this case? Obviously, you didn't know anything going into jury duty, but when was that point that you really realized, oh, wow, we just made a decision and it was this big? It was the Karen Reed case.
When I heard the people outside last Wednesday, because I didn't know there was that amount of people outside. As we drive every day, we could see some people in pink, and I didn't know pink was her color. I had a bunch of pink shirts, and then I stopped using them because I don't want to give a vibe. But I had no clue. There were, I don't know, hundreds of people outside. It was that of a big movement. And Aiden, Turtle Boy, I never heard about him before that. So I saw that he was very involved in this and I recognized him from court. So I started looking into his work or his advocacy, I don't know. And yeah, I didn't know it was that big. I mean, the judge said when she was picking us for the jury poll, it's a media case, it's a big case, but I had no clue that big, like national big.
Right. So when you were sitting in the courtroom, when the verdict came down,
When I
what
heard
was
people.
going through your mind, and what did you hear in there?
I heard just people outside, and that's when I started crying, because that people outside made the family of John O'Keefe feel very sad just hearing that. So that moment broke my heart. And then, I don't know, I just hope they find justice.
Is there anything that you would say to the O'Keefes if you saw them?
Yes, please keep fighting. We really don't think it was Karen Reed. The investigation was floppy. Believe that. Look at yourself, and keep fighting to find who did this to him, because he seemed to be a very nice guy. His niece testify, friends testify, and we had no doubt that was unnecessary death. But it wasn't Karen Reed, and let's find who did it.
Do you think the investigation was just sloppy, or could it be a potential cover-up with the police because he was a police officer?
I'm not gonna say it's a cover-up, but was a sloppy effort. I would keep just being like sloppy and lazy, I would say too. But if it was a cover-up, let's find out.
Is there something that really stood out when you were listening to some of the testimony? Like, wow, when you say sloppy or lazy, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
No reports. Like nobody made like an official report of like the GPS location of the evidence 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, the ring camera disappeared. Oh yeah, no, this moment, like 2 minutes, we don't have the recording anymore. So all those coincidences doesn't make sense.
And
Did you guys ever talk about the dog or potential dog fights or anything like that?
We mentioned, I mean, you mean deliberation?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we mentioned the dog, but not much. I mean, I think that's looked like a dog bite, but because it wasn't presented to us, like more information about the dog and everything, we put our opinions aside and just, focus on the evidence that was actually there.
did you always believe, or do you believe that Karen Reed is innocent? And did you always believe that from the moment you stepped in to be a juror to the moment that you walked?
No, I didn't know about the case. So when I first started, I thought maybe manslaughter because of the drink thing, that she was under influence overall. And but after the weeks passed by and the witnesses, and I just couldn't make her guilty.
Was there like a turning point, like a aha moment where you're like, okay, maybe she's not?
The Commonwealth witness judge, I forgot his name, Judge Welcher.
Yeah, Derek.
Dr. Welcher.
Dr. Welcher.
Yeah. So Dr. Welcher, car accident reconstruction, seemed a little off, and wow, they couldn't even prove that. So that moment was maybe an aha moment.
Mm-hmm.
And when ARCA came in and gave us such a good accident reconstruction to us, made sense.
Interesting. Is there anything else?
So before this trial, so last year, You never heard of the Karen Reed trial before?
No, I moved here February last year. So I think you guys were talking a lot about it. I saw billboards, I saw some yard signs, free Karen Reed, but I was never curious to look to see what was it. I love crime. I love true crime, to listen to podcasts, but mainly in Brazil, mainly things that happens over there. So not involved with social media, local news in the US. So I really didn't know much about Karen Reed. I just know her face and her billboard.
Interesting. Yeah. And what did you think about her presence in the courtroom? I know people have looked at her as like kind of cool, calm, collected, or showing little emotion at times. So I don't know what your perception of her is or was or how it evolved.
I did expect more emotion. I was looking like she doesn't cry, she doesn't move. She's just so calm and so present. But she was fighting for her life, and I'm not judging. It's the way that she found herself in that horrible situation, and she needed to fight. And so good for her that she had the presence to do that.
Okay. But that's the thing, though. I feel like lawyers usually tell their defendants to act like that, right? But then that could come off as like a bad thing to people that think that they're not there's no emotion. But don't they try to tie, like, I've always heard they try to just tell the people just to kind of like be more like that. Like, but why would that be? Now that I think about it, why wouldn't they be allowed to like show emotion? Because that would look more human. I don't know. But her being from Brazil, that might be like different. Like she might not realize that that's more of a intentional thing rather than like that's just how she is. It's like more intentional that she's trying to be that way for the court. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah. All right, so okay, I'm trying to think of because there's a couple more. There's probably going to be there could be some overlap in the questions because, I mean, it's the same interviewer, but I want to watch them all. I haven't actually watched all of them through. I just skimmed through them because I'm like, you know what? I was going through stuff and I was saving them because I'm like, I'm going to do a live. So I read the written one because I just wanted to see if it was something that had different stuff than, even though I didn't watch all these, but I kind of like skimmed through some of the stuff. But okay, so let's do another video one and then I'll read the written one. Okay, so we'll do one. Okay, so there's one that's from CBS. They do one that's like the full interview, but then they do one that's like mixed with other stuff. Hold on. Because I think it's mixed with other stuff because there's 3 minutes. Yeah, they kind of mix it with things. Oh no, maybe they're just showing pictures. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Yeah, okay. So I'll play this couple minute one and then I'll play the full one because there's actually like over a 10-minute one of the same thing here. But this is like 3 minutes, but it's taken from the same interview, but it kind of, you know how they mix it with different things with like.
We couldn't prove there was a collision and she was responsible for John's death.
Tonight, a juror tells WBZ she is confident in her decision to free Karen Reed. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm David Wade. There was immense pressure on each and every juror to reach a verdict in one of the most closely scrutinized cases in recent memory. And tonight, one of those jurors is revealing how she decided on not guilty. She just spoke to Tammy Mutasa, and Tammy, this juror, says that she changed her mind as the trial went along.
Yeah, David, tonight, Paula Prado says it was a very emotional and intense week. She actually left the courthouse crying yesterday because she said she felt on one hand, she felt like Karen Reed got justice, but on the other hand, she felt horrible for John O'Keefe and his family and wants him to get justice too.
I was happy for Karen Reed and her family. Of course, I think justice was served, but see John O'Keefe's family leaving the courthouse was melt my heart. I'm a mother, and I saw her pain through all those days.
Paula Prado is recounting the gravity and emotions of being one of the 12 jurors in the high-profile Karen Reed retrial. It's one day after the jury acquitted Reed on her most serious charges in the death of John O'Keefe, her Boston police officer boyfriend.
I just want to tell them it's not our fault that Karen Reed is not convicted, even if there's any chance that she's guilty of something, of hurt him somehow. The Commonwealth and the investigators didn't do their jobs to prove that to us.
Prado is a lawyer from Brazil. She says part of why the jury reached their verdict was because of the poor police investigation, saying there were too many inconsistencies and not enough evidence that a crash actually happened.
At first, for me, I thought Karen Reed was actually maybe guilty of manslaughter in the beginning, but as the weeks passed by, I just realized there was too many holes that we couldn't fill, and there's nothing that put her on the scene, in our opinion, besides just drop John O'Keefe off. And the taillight, the injuries in his arm didn't make much sense that come from the taillight for us. The last witness, Arca, from the defense, that made clear, they did a very good job. We couldn't prove there was a collision and she was responsible for John's death.
She now hopes the amount of pressure and attention given to Reed's case will be put into getting accountability for John O'Keefe.
And I really, really hope there is a way for the case to be reopened and they can investigate again and find who actually did that to John.
Now, after deliberating for 22 hours, Paula says she 100% stands by her decision. I asked her if the crowds out here added to that pressure, and she said she actually didn't even realize how big the crowds were, and the room that they were working in was actually covered, so they didn't really see what was going on outside. So all they did was really focus on the evidence that was presented to them. For now, reporting live in Dedham, Tammy Watasa, WBZ News.
Oh, I didn't realize I was not on mute. Oh well. I wasn't being loud, right? Same thing, too many holes. Yeah, guys, maybe I don't know, whatever. Okay, so let's do okay. I'm gonna play the full one of that real quick now. Did I already play that one? No, that's another one I didn't play yet. Okay, so let me play the full one, and then there's actually another one too. She's making her rounds. She's going everywhere. I wonder how many of them will come out and talk.
Do you want to just tell us about the verdict and how you guys came to this conclusion?
Yeah, sure. So it was a very intense week. We are at first, for me, I thought Karen Reed was actually maybe guilty of manslaughter in the beginning, but as the weeks passed by, I just realized there was too many holes that we couldn't fill, and there's nothing that put her on the scene, in our opinion, besides just drop John O'Keefe off. And the taillight, the injuries in his arm didn't make much sense that come from the taillight for us. The last witness, Arca, from the defense, that made clear, they did a very good job, like showing us, explaining all the technicalities, of everything. And yeah, we couldn't prove there was a collision and she was responsible for John's death.
Are you convinced she wasn't responsible for his death?
I am convinced. I'm 100% convinced. Yes, I really don't think she was responsible for his death. I think she dropped him off. If she back up fast enough to maybe touch him, maybe, but that was not the reason why he fell his back in a way that the way the cut was, the injury was, and the fracture was. I don't think that was from the car, because otherwise we would see much more injuries over his body.
So what do you think happened to him?
It's a theory, like conspiracy theory type of thing, because I think she maybe back up and touch him somehow. Maybe he lost his shoes in this movement and got upset, like, and then she left and she didn't saw him. And so either he got out of her way or something, and maybe he lost his shoes in this process. But he, in my opinion, he definitely went inside and something happened inside the house.
Paula, you were getting emotional. What was going through your heart and mind after making that, tremendous decision?
Yeah, so I was happy for Karen Reed and her family. Of course, I think justice was served, but see John Lucky's family leaving the courthouse was melt my heart. I'm a mother, and I saw her pain through all those days. And I just want to tell them it's not our fault that Karen Reed is not convicted, even if there's any chance she's guilty of something, of hurt him somehow. The Commonwealth and the investigators didn't do their jobs to prove that to us. So we couldn't charge her with anything. And I really, really hope there is a way for the case to be reopened and they can investigate again and find who actually did that to John.
But you were emotional at the end.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
It was because I was sad for the family, because I feel like great for Karen Reed, but horrible for the family. He seemed to be a very nice guy, the story with his nephews and niece, and was alive. So I feel bad for them, and I really want them to get justice for John O'Keefe for real.
Was it a poor investigation?
In my opinion, yes. Too many flaws, too many holes that we couldn't fill in. No reports, so many things, videos with glitch. I don't know, felt a little not correct, not precise. I mean, they are police officers. They know what to do in investigation, and with too many pieces were missing.
Well, you said you were first thinking manslaughter in the beginning. What changed your mind to not guilty?
The process, like what as they show us that things don't connect to each other. The injuries don't connect with the tail light, the glitch on the video of the sailport, the missing part of the video of the ring light in John O'Keefe's house was too many coincidences to be, straight her fault.
So the first trial, the jurors were deadlocked. They couldn't come up with a decision. Were you surprised that they brought this case again for a second time? That they prosecuted her for a second time?
No, not surprised, because I have a law background from Brazil. I study law. I worked a little bit as an attorney before I moved here, so I understand a little bit the system. I'm not surprised she was charged again. And that we definitely didn't want to hang this jury. We were very positive that we're going to discuss everything as much as we can, because we don't want to. The amount of money spent on this trial made me very upset, and I'm sure made my fellow jurors upset too.
Do you think she was framed?
Hard to say. I didn't have a chance to look into the investigation outside the courtroom and everything that was said in the last trial. It's less than 24 hours since I started looking into those things. So I can't say she was framed, but maybe, I don't know. I don't know.
Did you find it strange you didn't hear from the lead investigator, Michael Proctor?
No, I didn't find it strange not hear from him, but I found strange not hear from Brian Albert and Brian Higgins, because the owner for the house and the person who exchanged text messages with Karen Reed a few days before John O'Keefe death. So I think was weird not hear from them.
Do you find it weird that the DA hasn't said anything at all about the case or the verdict? I mean, all he said was the jury has spoken, which you guys did, but nothing else.
I was surprised that they wanted the sentence right away. I'm not sure if they're going to appeal, what's going to happen. I didn't have time to see what happened through the day because I was out with my family. But I don't know, maybe they're just going to give up and reopen the investigation.
At the beginning of deliberations, did some people think she was guilty?
At the beginning of the deliberation. I don't know. We decided not to vote, not to say what we really think, and instead go through witnesses and the videos and the paper, the clothes and everything. So I'm not sure what they thought. But when we got an agreement of what charges we would eliminate it one by one, and then we got to the verdict.
Was it hard to focus, or with the pressure of the big crowds outside every day chanting? Like, how much pressure was that for you guys?
I didn't see people outside until I think Monday, because the way the bus brings us to the back of the courthouse, only if you look to your right and you see maybe some pink shirts or something, but I didn't know it was that big crowd like yesterday. And we couldn't hear anything. They covered the room so we couldn't see through the window. And through the whole process, I didn't hear anything inside the courtroom. None of us did.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like this wasn't that difficult for you guys to reach consensus here. Was it difficult to reach this decision or not really?
Well, I can speak for myself. For me, it wasn't. For me, I had my opinion formed before we get in there. So we, some people might thought differently. So we had some discussions, of course, but I can't talk for other people.
But it doesn't sound like it was very heated. And were people fighting, or was it?
Yeah. No, there wasn't fight. We are a respectful group of people. We got along very well, and we listened to each other's opinion. I can't say much what happened inside the deliberation room. It's the judge told us not to talk about it, but of course there were discussions of our opinions and the proofs, and let's look into this, look into that until we got to a consensus. But nothing heated. No.
Did you make much of?
I have a question though. Is that normal? Like after the trial ends, is that normal for the judge to tell them not to discuss the deliberations? I can't remember if that's like a normal thing. And how much, like going back to other juror interviews I've seen in other trials, if they did discuss it more further. They are very kind of vague answering some of this stuff in a way about like, no, I mean, I guess that's kind of okay because they're kind of just telling how they felt and they're not like spilling the tea on everybody else. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like how many this, how many that, they're just kind of like going by their perspective. So actually that's probably kind of good. But I'm wondering if the judge kind of intimidated them in a way of like, what they feel like they could say and stuff. She's talking more obviously than he did, but that's what I saw, Betty. That's what I saw. So why would the judge say to not discuss that? I feel like they should be allowed. I guess I feel like hasn't there been cases though, which I don't I wouldn't totally agree with it, but has there not been like a case here or there where they weren't allowed to discuss it though? Was there like no, I mean, why am I feel like I'm remembering something where there's been a couple cases where maybe there's some kind of like sealed something where they couldn't? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But I know on a normal, I feel like you can. I mean, I know on a normal, yeah, but I feel like I don't know. I really don't like that judge.
Her the videos that were played of
No,
her
I don't.
saying,
what happened with
well,
Case
maybe I might
Anthony?
have flipped him,
And the
or
jury. I don't
almost
remember
admitting that,
jury
well, maybe
wise.
something happened.
Yeah, that's where I take my theory from. Since like she woke up thinking, oh, maybe I hit him. So this idea come from somewhere on her mind, right? So maybe when she back up, she hit something, the curb or him or something. I don't know. But definitely his injuries are not consistent with the tail light damage. We do not believe the tail light, the way that was presented in the Sally port on that day, it's not the same way that we saw in the videos of the car coming out of the meadows in the morning. I don't think the car killed John O'Keefe, no.
At what point in the trial did you start to think she was innocent?
Maybe like 3 weeks ago, after, when they had the police lab bringing DNA, they found a little trace of DNA here and there, but they also found 2 males' DNA here and there. So well, maybe there was more people involved on that. So that's when I start shifting my mind to completely not guilty of killing him at all. And the OUI was the only thing we can't deny, because she said on the video she was drinking, and there are videos of her drinking, counting of her drinking. So we couldn't let that pass.
Anything else, Paula? Like, what's your message, or what's the lesson that you learned in this process? Or
well, my first time being a juror was an incredible experience. Really, I really enjoyed being there. It wasn't a burden at all. The deliberation part for me was a little overwhelmed because of the pressure of have someone's life in your hand. But the crowd outside or influence from outside, none of this came to me. So I was clear in my mind, just focus on her and the case and the evidences we have. But for me, it was a great experience, and I'm happy that I feel good about what we did. I'm confident that she's innocent, and I really, really hope the pressure that they had in this case now is transferred to John O'Keefe family, and justice for him, like new investigation, whatever needs to be done.
Sorry, I'm just answering a comment, and it ended. I always, every time one of the video ends, I'm in the middle of responding to a comment in chat, so I'm like finishing it, and then I'm just like sitting there. Okay, so wow, a couple of days ago, that's crazy. No, I'm not playing anybody. It's been over a month. She's aware, so stop. She's aware. We've been broken up over a month. No playing nobody. So not sure why a couple days ago. I can't see what's going on in every chat, but nope, I'm not the one playing anybody. So lazy, I can handle the chat. Wait, what's going on in chat? I feel like there's some tension up in here. What's going on? Oh no, Real, you didn't. I wasn't talking to you. What name did I say? No, that wasn't to you. Or maybe you're talking to somebody else. That was to, now I forget who even said that. Where did I respond? Lisa. I think Lisa was, I was responding to Lisa, not you. Gosh, what is going on in chat? Yeah, I'd like to be. I'm going to finish playing these interviews and showing you guys the couple documents, and then I'm going to take a shower and do. But that's the problem. You guys sound like you want to do something else. That's fine. I'm doing my Koberger thing, because no, I'm not going to play another creator's interview like the day he's interviewed somebody. That's just not morally right. I mean, not moral. That's not, what's the word for it? Like, you know, you got to respect other creators, and it's different when there's like a big corporation. It's like news channels, news stuff, compared to like a independent creator that is just basically busting their butt doing it alone like I'm doing it. I would not take their big interview and replay it the same day. I can't do that. I'm sorry. I just can't. I could, you know, maybe in a couple days, you know, let him get the views, but I would never do it the same time he's doing it. So I apologize. I mean, I don't know why I'm apologizing. I'm not the one to do that. Ethical, yeah. But screenshots of what, Lacey? Oh, about chat? No, you're okay. I don't. Who's being short? I don't even know who you're talking about. You remind me of somebody the way you talk, Lacey. Anyway, okay, so no, my husband's here to chat. So what is it? Oh, Cicely. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna play. There's actually one more interview with her. So I'm debating like, and then the written one, I'm debating if it's better to play them all back to back or break it up with the other stuff. You know, should I do all her interviews first? Because there's one more video interview with her from it's GMA, where is it? Good Morning America. Yeah. Well, I'll just do this because I'll do all hers and then I'll do the other ones after. Okay. So here we go. This is or that's Today Show. Oh, I thought it was Good Morning America, isn't it? Hold on.
One of the jurors who helped decide Karen Reed's fate. Ms. Prado, good morning to you. As I understand it, you're also a lawyer by training in Brazil. So there's a distinction here. Sometimes
Sorry, let me correct myself. Not Good Morning America. It's the Today Show, right? On NBC. Okay.
jurors say, okay, we think she is innocent. And sometimes they say, we think she's not guilty. The prosecutors just didn't prove the case. For you, which one was it? Do you believe that Karen Reed was innocent?
Yes, I do believe she was innocent. I believe if it was a collision, this collision was very little and wasn't enough to cause the death of John O'Keefe. So for me, it was for the past 3 weeks, I was very confident to say that she was not guilty and she's not responsible.
So Paul, if you believe that, if you believe she was in fact innocent, what do you think happened to John O'Keefe that night?
That's a trick question because I can't prove anything. But I do believe he died inside the house. Something may happen in front of the house when she dropped him off, because she woke up saying, maybe I hit him, look at my taillight. She made this connection of the taillight being cracked with he not being home. So maybe she did hit something when she dropped him off. And as she drove off, like mad, going home, upset because he didn't came back from the house, I think John O'Keefe went inside the house and something happening there.
What do you think of the defendant herself? You were able to watch her live in the courtroom day after day, but she did not take the stand. Do you wish she had? And what was your impression of her?
Yeah, at first my impression was she gave me a vibe of being too confident, and that wasn't good for me personally. I expected to see someone more, I don't know, sad or quiet, and she all the time showed herself with she was very calm. She was very participative of her defense and confident. Her looks to the witnesses and to the prosecutor and everybody around, she was very focused on the trial and very alert of everything that was going on. And after a while, I admire that. I think she was doing what she had to do for herself. She was, fighting for her life, pretty much.
Paula, there was so much evidence presented over the few weeks that this trial went on. Was there a single piece of evidence that you found as a juror and as an attorney, a single piece of evidence that was the most compelling, that really convinced you she did not do it?
The taillight. So having a close look at the taillight in the deliberation room, they gave us the piece that was originally broken. That taillight, compared with the videos of Karen Reed leaving the house in the morning at 7:07, I think, when she first got out of the house to go look for him, I saw it, and most of us, I think, saw it, like her taillight was red, mostly red, so it wasn't compatible with the taillight fully broken that we had in front of us. So that's over there was the reasonable doubt we were looking for.
What about the fact that this trial is so high profile? I mean, there were crowds outside the courthouse every day. In fact, when the verdict was read, you could hear from inside the courtroom, as I'm sure you did, the cheers go up. Were you aware of that? Did that weigh into any of your decision making? How did that play into the dynamic there?
The first time we heard something outside was on the day of the verdict, when we heard them chanting when we said not guilty. Before that, as we drive to the courthouse, the bus would drop us off behind the courthouse and the streets were closed. So honestly, we couldn't see anything or hear anything. And in the courthouse, inside the deliberation room, they covered everything, the windows, so we didn't have a view from outside. was honestly, we knew there were some people there because as we drive around, we see some people in pink, and we imagined that there was some movement inside the courthouse. Oh, sorry, outside the courthouse, but we couldn't hear anything. And I had no clue the amount of people that were outside until I come out and watch on the TV last Friday.
Paula, you were visibly.
Last Friday, no, sorry, last Wednesday.
We knew what you meant, but Paula, you were visibly emotional as you left the courtroom. You were in tears. But why? Why were you so emotional as you left?
Because I'm a mother and I've been watching his family over this past 2 months, and I know I can't imagine what they are going through. And as much as I'm confident that we did the right thing and she's not guilty, I feel sorry that justice wasn't served to John O'Keefe and John O'Keefe's family. And it's the reason why I'm coming out and talking to people is to keep the flame going and the supporters going after the GA or whatever they have to do to reopen the case and find who really killed John O'Keefe.
Do you have a theory about that?
I believe, as I said, that he died inside and something happened inside that maybe he could even like accidentally fall and hit his head back. Maybe a little fight went inside because we saw videos on last bar they were where him and Brian Higgins were like making gestures that they would talk after. So I can't say for real, but I believe something happened inside the house.
Fascinating.
Yeah, very interesting. Paula, to have your perspective, thank you. And jury service is not easy. So I'm sure the judge thanked you, but it is appreciated. Thank you.
Her perspective, especially unique, considering, as you pointed out, her background. I mean, a lawyer herself in Brazil. So
very, very interesting. And
glad that she caught on, these juries caught on to certain things, because I was a little bit worried that I'm not seeing the first trial and not like seeing like all the stuff we know and just having that trial to go by, like if they were catching all this stuff, because then also having the judge stop a lot of stuff from coming in so the juries couldn't hear a lot of stuff. I was so worried that some of that stuff might get lost, but that's interesting. She caught the thing about the thing at the bar with Higgins and Albert. Was it Chris Albert? Like, you know what I'm saying? Well, I know that Alan did point some of that stuff out, but I don't know. They caught a lot. I'm glad they caught the stuff they were supposed to catch. And you know what I'm saying? Because they had to, like, the defense had to really work their butts off to try to get these points across and to get this stuff seen. And I don't know. I was really worried because I feel like a lot of the stuff that the first jury heard, they got to see a lot more stuff, I feel like. And it's just like, I was worried that this one, and I was like, man, that one was a hung jury. So I was like, this one, shoot, man. They're like seeing less, I feel like, but hopefully they're seeing it. And they did. That's awesome. Okay, so the lawyer is so good she got the time Karen left wrong. Wait, huh? I don't know what you're saying. What lawyer are you talking about? The juror or what lawyer? It's in can't copy handle it wrong. FBI had a yeah. Oh yeah. No, I know about the case. You're talking to Angie. I just never really like dug into it, but I'm aware of it. Okay, so we got that one. Now let's read the written one. So this written one is her interview, but it's a written interview. Where's it at? Hold on. I just brought it up. Oh, here. No. Dang it. It was just up, but now it's. Oh, there we go. Okay. Oh, wait. Let me take this down first, so I don't have all this stuff piling up. Okay. So here is the written one. It's the same juror. Oh, shoot. I just made it. Hold on. Oh, my Lord. That was, you guys don't get to see that screen. Okay. Okay. So, Jessica Machado, I don't know how to say her name. Machado? I don't know, but that's who's interviewing her. Paula Prado. Okay. That's big enough. You guys could read it, right? Okay. So she says, let's start off with the most important question. Did you think Karen Reed killed John O'Keefe? And when did you come to that conclusion? She answered, to be absolutely honest, on the first day of trial, as I observed Karen's demeanor in court, I was very suspicious. It felt like she was hiding something. Her confidence gave off an impression of arrogance. Over time, I came to understand that I was looking at a woman who had already lost so much. The fact that she was able to remain calm, composed, and actively involved in her own defense became something I admired. Hold on, let me take a sip of water really quick. Sorry. Okay. Okay, so she said actively involved in her own defense became something I admired. I had doubts, of course. I was initially inclined to find her guilty, at least of manslaughter. But the more holes we saw in the case, the less I believed she was responsible for John's death. For the past 3 weeks or so, I became increasingly comfortable in saying she did not kill him. And then is Jessica, right? Jessica. So Jessica says, did you feel that the judge favored either side in this trial? And she says, I wouldn't say favored, but especially during the defense's case, I noticed a lot more of I'll allow it being said right before after objections from the defense. I understand that certain words or facts can't be introduced, and sometimes attorneys try to get something in by asking questions they know will be objected to. Still, Dr. Russell, for example, was hard to follow due to this constant sustained objections from the Commonwealth. Makes me mad. What do you say, 48 in a row? Oh. Who is the most memorable witness in this trial? For me, it was Mr. Yuri Buchanan, because I was seated in the first row. I could see him clenching his fists a few times. It was very tense. ARCA was memorable for different reasons. They made a lot of technical information finally make sense to me. And they almost didn't let ARCA in. Oh. Did you believe that injuries to John O'Keefe's arm were caused by a dog? Yes, and I actually have my own theory about the dog's role in his death. I don't see those injuries coming from a tailgate or tail light at all. Plus, the lack of more injuries on his body made it really hard to believe a collision occurred. Do you know that ARCA's witnesses were did you know that the ARCA witnesses were first contacted by the FBI? And she says, no, I only assumed it was the FBI after one of the witnesses before ARCA mentioned another agency. Yeah, they would say like another agency. Yes. That is stupid. Like, why couldn't I don't understand why they had to keep that a secret. The judge. Okay, so Jessica asked, what did you think of the video clips of Karen speaking in those documentaries? And she said, I think she wanted to speak her truth without having to go on the stand. Those interviews gave her better control of the narrative. I also think it was a strategic move by her defense. Her alcohol use was an undeniable fact. It was better for her to address it herself. And then Jessica asked her, did you feel like convicting Karen of the OUI was the right thing to do? Or did you feel like you had to convict her of something? And she says, absolutely not. The OUI was the only charge I strongly believe the Commonwealth proved. She said in several interviews, I was buzzed. I shouldn't have driven. My alertness wasn't where it should have been. Once we determined that the videos were admissible, I couldn't ignore that charge. And then she asked, what witness did you trust the most? And she says, I trusted the forensic scientists from the Massachusetts State Police Lab, like Maureen Hartnett and Tess Chart. They worked with what we they worked with what they were given. I also believe Dr. Laposada and Isaac Wolf were extremely knowledgeable and stated their findings truthfully. And then she asked, what witness did you trust the least? She said, Officer Kelly Dever. I don't even know how to say her last name. Dever. Her behavior in court made me question whether it's safe for someone who acts like that to be carrying a gun among civilians. Oh my God. That's crazy. Oh. I'm not laughing because I mean, hopefully you guys see the humor and why I'm laughing about that. It's not. It's the fact that it's like this. It's so crazy how like messed up they did. You know what I'm saying? That they were, that the fact that she's saying her behavior made me question whether it's safe for her to be carrying a gun. That's how I feel about all them, all the freaking officers. It's the crazy. So then she asked, how hard was it for you to be a part of this jury for so long? How were you able to do it every day? She answers, I have 4 young children under my care, and I work from home on a contract basis. I don't have a large workload because I'm their primary caregiver. It was fairly easy to manage. Wait, hold on. I work on a contract basis. Wonder what she does because she was a lawyer. I'm confused. Contract basis. Wonder what she does for work. I guess it could still be up. Okay, sorry. I just wanted to reread what she said. Okay. It was fairly easy to manage their care with my husband and my extended family. I asked my father to help out as well, and he came from Brazil to spend some time with us. Having this part taken care of, I was actually very happy to be part of this process. Did not mind leave the house every day to did not mind leave the house every day to help the judge, as my kids would say. Oh, once I got into the routine of going to the courthouse every day, I honestly felt like I was reliving my old life as an attorney before I had kids. It made me think seriously about studying and learning more about American law, maybe even working in the legal field again. It wasn't a burden at all, except for deliberation day, when I felt extremely stressed and overwhelmed by the weight of our responsibility. And then she asked, what is something you want everyone to know about this case or trial? She says, I think I'd want to speak directly to the O'Keefe family. I was the juror who left the courtroom in tears, and it wasn't because justice has been served for Karen Reed, though I was happy for her and her family. I cried for Mrs. O'Keefe, Paul, and everyone in John's family. They did not get the justice they deserve. I understand they might not want to hear from any of us, but I want to make it clear that our duty was only to determine whether there was reasonable doubt. If there's any chance that Karen was responsible for John's death, then the blame lies with the sloppy investigation that made it impossible to connect her to his tragic passing. We didn't fail the O'Keefes, the Commonwealth did. Exactly. That's the freaking right there. We didn't fail the O'Keefes, the Commonwealth did, the police did. Personally, I believe she's 100% innocent. But even for those jurors who still had doubts, none of us could say beyond a reasonable doubt that she did it. To Karen Reed supporters and advocates, please keep pressuring the DA. Keep standing against corruption. And above all, I hope we can still achieve justice for John O'Keefe. So that's that. Okay. Now, where'd everybody go? There's like 20 people left. Hey, I have to keep everyone is very important. Okay. It's getting hot in here, guys. It was so cool in here. I had the air on all night with the door shut. So it was actually really cool in here earlier, but I turned it off for the live and it's starting to warm up. Okay. So that's that. Now let me get the next thing I wanted to show. So the next one I want to play is oh, I don't know about that one because well, that's a short. Hold on. Where's that other interview? Karen Reed's. Oh, let me read this real quick. This article. I mean, it's from a couple days ago, but I have it in my thing list to read, so I'm gonna read it. So too bad. Okay. It says it's Canton residents hope to move forward after Karen retrial. It's been crazy. The small town of Canton, Massachusetts is known for its tree-lined streets, quaint shops, and now a house on Fairview Road. But it's what happened at the property that thrust this town of 25,000 into the national spotlight during the Karen retrial. It's been crazy, said Shauna Maroney, who works in the town. People are coming in on little tour buses or little tours on buses thinking it's a party. I feel bad for for the family because they are making a mockery. People are driving by the house. People are going to McCarthy's. They are going to the waterfall. It's like become this big joke. John O'Keefe, a Boston police officer, was found dead in the snow outside the home on Fairview Road on January 2022. Reed, who was dating O'Keefe, was acquitted of murder and manslaughter charges on his death Wednesday. People who live here described a deep divide when it comes to views on the trial and its outcome. Some people said relationships had been ruined by strong opinions of the case. I could see that. Like one, that they're divided on what they feel if she's guilty or innocent. I could see it freaking breaking up families, just like the whole Trump thing. The people that like Trump, support Trump, and not like there's so much emotional and like where it like actually separates like friendships and families. It's crazy. It shouldn't be like that, guys. I mean, anyway, I can imagine living in that town. From the second I moved here, people were asking me about the Karen Reed case, said Tori Barton. I have friends who think she is guilty. I have friends who think she's innocent. We are all amicable, at least. Amicable. Sorry. Wait, we are all. Oh, okay. Well, I still think Canton is a great town. What I really think the saddest part to be is John O'Keefe and his family. I really empathize what they went through. Oh, great. What they went through and how it's dragged out for so long. Things got so heated here that residents voted to audit their own police department. Yeah, for the handling of the investigation into John O'Keefe's death. Good. The results were published before the retrial started and found serious issues with the department's processing of the scene and follow-up interviews, but did not find evidence of corruption or conspiracy. Town of Canton Select Board Chair John McCourt released a statement following Wednesday's verdict saying, today's outcome may bring a sense of relief to some and continue to raise questions for others. We encourage members of the community to move forward together, treating one another with respect through civil, constructive dialogue. This is personal for a lot of people in this town, as family and friends on both sides of this case call Canton home. We got both sides, people that are related to both sides of this story. Maroney said people are very aggressive about it, and it's almost as bad as when you had the presidency. That's what I was just saying. Like people that are divided on what they feel about that is like, I'm sure this is in local. So local probably feels like that because it's like in their area. So they're probably really like emotional about it. I think it's nice that it's over. I think everyone wants it to be done at this point. Okay. And then let me bring up that Proctor thing. I don't know. I didn't see what most people said if they already seen it. I think it said it was the document was from March, but I don't know if many people were talking about it. I mean, maybe there was. Like I said, I wasn't following it like in depth. Like, yeah, I'm pretty well versed on it, but like as far as like some of you guys following it really in depth, like that, the case being like your baby, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know Laura or who else. Okay, so this is what I wanted to show you. This is what I was talking about for the Proctor. So it's from about Trooper Proctor. So it says, so Wednesday, March 19th, 2025. Yeah, we played a part of it yesterday, Laura. And then I just I wasn't about to freaking play from Hulu because they would have probably taken it down as I was playing it. But I played the little teasers. They did a 50-second one and a 30-second one. So yeah. Anyway, the findings of the trial board held on January 15th, 2025, February 10th, 2025, and March 13th, 2025, in pursuance of Personnel Order 25 PER005, dated January 6, 2025, have been approved by the Colonel Superintendent Trooper Michael D. Proctor. Is hereby found number 1, guilty, number 2, guilty, number 3, guilty, number 4, right, number 1, guilty. So charge number 1, specification 1, 2, and 3, guilty. Charge number 2, specification 1, guilty. Okay. Trooper Proctor on various dates between January 29th, 2022 and August 17th, 2022 did fail to conform to the work standards established for the member's rank, title, or position, and or did fail to take appropriate action on the occasion of a crime, disorder, or other condition deserving state police attention. This occurred when Trooper Proctor, while assigned as the lead investigator in a homicide investigation, sent derogatory, defamatory, disparaging, and or otherwise inappropriate text message about a suspect in that investigation to other individuals. This action is in direct violation of Article 5.8.2. This is a Class A violation. Trooper Proctor on various dates between January 29th, 2022 and June 9th, 2022 did fail to conform to the work standards established for the member's rank, title, or position, and or did fail to take appropriate action on the occasion of a crime, disorder, or other condition deserving state police attention. This occurred when Trooper Proctor, while assigned as the lead investigator in a homicide investigation, provided sensitive and or confidential information about a homicide victim. Potential witnesses and or potential investigative steps in the investigation to non-law enforcement personnel. This action is in direct violation of Article blah blah blah. So let me reread this, and there's one more page, but so failed to conform to the work standards, fail to take appropriate action on the occasion of a crime, disorder, other condition. Okay, so the next one, hold on. Trooper Proctor, through his actions on various dates between January 29th, 2022 and August 17th, 2022, did fail to conform to the work standards. I just read that. Well, wait, is this? Oh. Is that the double thing? Hold on, it's saying the same thing, huh? This one isn't, but right here, so did fail to conform to the work standards established for the member's rank, title, or position, and or failed to take appropriate action on the occasion of a crime, disorder, and other condition deserving state police attention. This occurred when Trooper Proctor, while assigned as the lead investigator in a homicide investigation, through his unprofessional and inappropriate conduct, created an image that he was biased in his dealings. No, this is different. Just the first part was the wording was similar. So created an image that he was biased in his dealings with the homicide suspect and or brought otherwise himself and the Massachusetts State Police into disrepute. Unprofessional and inappropriate conduct. Created an image that he was biased. Anyway, Trooper Proctor on July 19th, 2022 did consume alcohol while on duty and not in the performance of duty, and while acting under specific orders from a supervisory member or proper authority. This occurred when Trooper Proctor consumed alcoholic beverages while eating dinner on duty and then proceeded to operate his department-issued cruiser. This action is in direct violation of Article 510.4. This is a Class B violation. There you go. Be terminated. So this is Trooper Michael D. Proctor, as a result of his actions, shall be terminated, dishonorably discharged. Dishonorably. And what was Buchanan saying about him and how what was the word he used? I'm being serious. I'm not being, that sounds like I can already know, and I'm like being so, I am, if I remembered it, it would fit that too. But oh my God, I can't think now. He said, what was the word? Where Alan, I don't know, it's not a big deal, but we all remember that, where Buchanan tried to act like that it didn't he even say it was done with honor or something. The case was, with honor or whatever, bull crap. And then he wouldn't admit that he was the lead investigator. Siri? Oh, thought I said Siri. Oh, Laura, I thought you were saying theory. Never mind. Honor and integrity. Yeah, honor. That's what dishonorable honor. Yeah, crazy. Anyway, so that's interesting. Or I wanted to read that to you. And then, oh, is this? I don't know. I saw this in a group. Wait. I think I have another. Oh, wait, hold on a second. Let me do. This first. Excuse me? Yeah. This is so ridiculous that I thought they were making a joke last night. They were being so serious. The Honorable Person of the Year by the Bar Association. Wow. Wow is all I gotta say. Hold on one second. Crazy. It's not letting me. Hold on, guys. Trying to zoom into that. Hopefully, you guys will be able to. It's not going to be too blurry. Okay. Now, I don't know June 30th. Yeah, you guys probably already saw this, but this is the first time I'm seeing it. It was just when I was going through, I went through a couple Karen groups just to see what was in them. And this was one of the things. I'll read it because I hadn't seen it, but I know some of the diehard Karen Reed people that's been following the Clay's very in depth probably already seen it, but I have not, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that maybe haven't seen this. I don't even know if it's true, but somebody, remember, take it with a grain of salt. This is just somebody posting. So they said in 2008, I dated Brian Higgins. It ended. So Brian, remember, guys, Brian Higgins is the one that, the one that could actually potentially have a lot to do with, allegedly could have a lot to do with John O'Keefe's death. A lot of people think that he was the one fighting John because he was the one that was trying to get with Karen. The text messages with him and Karen. But anyway, so it says, I dated Brian. It ended abruptly one summer day when he went out for a run. Forgot to lock the cabinet where he kept his work phone and firearm. And I checked the phone when it was alerting incessantly. He had 5 different women texting him with various detailed plans, and a quick look through the phone solidified his exceptional dishonesty. A supposed fire call 2 nights earlier was actually him with another woman. Him with me that week, and was explained to the other woman as being at an arson investigation, etc. Oh my God. I packed my things and my dog and left sandwiched to head home from our vacation spot soon after what I read. I passed him on my drive as I turned onto 3 North, and his arms were in the air like, what the heck? The only communication I received from him after that was, you left my gun unlocked. Nothing else. Wow. While we were dating, Brian was very hot and cold, an awesome guy one minute and horrible the next. But the one story that most who knew us recall is Brian throwing my 10-week-old puppy off a dock into 6+ feet of water. Oh, I just had back surgery and was only just recovering and had to jump in to grab my dog. That's the only way he was going to learn to swim, was Brian's reply. When I first read about this, wait, hold on. How far was the dog? 6 feet. Wow. Even any water is 10-week-old. I'm gonna cry. Anyway, when I first read about this story in May, I actually messaged Turtle Boy because I had not seen Brian's name in it. Isn't that what that is? Turtle TB? I don't know. I'm guessing that's what that is. If it's talking about this case, TB stands for Turtle Boy in this case. And other stuff, I don't know. There's probably something, but because I had not seen Brian's name in it, or is it Brian's name in it? But thought it screamed of him and his crew. I wrote Turtle Boy asking if Higgins had been any part of it. I actually got chills when I read further and saw Brian was present that night. I am certain he was significant involvement in whatever happened to John. While I've been hesitant to put myself on the line with this, I'm certain the stories about Brian Higgins being a nice guy are unfounded or based on very limited interactions. He's an absolute narcissist, and what I've shared here is a fraction of evidence of what a terrible person he is. Wow. And then this one was so I didn't highlight this. It was in groups, so somebody else highlighted it. But like I said, I'm not claiming this is all any new stuff. So the diehard Karen Reed watchers or whatever, if you say, "Oh, I already seen this. This is old news," well, it's not going to be old news to everybody because it's not old news to me. I haven't seen it yet, so I figured I'd share it with you. I always look at it if I haven't seen it yet, there's got to be other people that probably hasn't seen it either. So I always want to share it. Okay, to Detective Lieutenant Brian Tully and from Sergeant Buchanan. So it's interviews of Julie and Chris Albert at 22 Maple Street. Okay, so on February 10th, 2022, at approximately 5:30 p.m., Trooper Proctor and I proceeded. So they proceeded there. So wait, Trooper Proctor and I. So it was Buchanan and Proctor in order to conduct a pre-scheduled interview of Julie and Chris at their residence. Both Julie and Chris were present at the Waterfall Bar and Grill the night of January 28th, 2022, and then followed Brian Albert's home in the early morning hours of January 29th. The purpose of this interview was to get their recollection of the events both at the bar, then from 34 Fairview Road. The following is a summary of information exchange. So the reason I pointed this out, because the person that posted this, I usually like to, for something like this, I usually like to get the whole screenshot, and I must have forgot. So the person that posted it, what they were saying about it, and what they were saying is that, didn't they say that they didn't go to 34 Fairview that day? So that was a discrepancy, but maybe maybe this is old news and it's been explained, but I don't know. I didn't think they went there either. Supposedly, didn't they say they didn't go there? At least, remember, Chris wasn't gonna go there. So I don't know. I just thought I'd get your thoughts on it because the post was saying that, but I can't remember if it was an old post. If the date that the person posted this was a while ago, I cannot remember. Does anybody know? Oh, see you, Laura. I know. I was thinking the same thing, Casey. Oh my God. I was like, wait, why does how does he have a lot of women? But I mean, so maybe some people would want to, just because his FBI. I don't know, right? Isn't, just because his title could turn, I don't know, who freaking knows, but because we saw with Karen Reed, he doesn't have self-confidence. I know people are going to think, well, I think most people that really actually understand narcissists and, what that means, actually have very low self-esteem. That's the whole issue. I mean, well, it's a big thing. So just because, you think narcissists, they're full of themselves. Well, they put on that, but in reality, they really don't. It's the lack of self-esteem. And we act, and I don't even know if he's a narcissist. I mean, I don't know what you call him, if he would be diagnosed. I was just saying because that girl called him that. But my point is, I feel like a lot of women that would be after somebody maybe because of, oh, he's at FBI, his job, whatever, would probably be attracted if he was confident, but he doesn't come off as confident. He comes off very not low self-esteem on himself, but maybe not. Maybe that's just how he was with Karen. I don't know. I mean, or maybe in person he was different, but in those text messages he came across he was so unsure and not no self-esteem, no confidence. Okay, so the next thing I want to show, just stuff I got out of group. So this was, why did I get this? Oh yeah, see, I guess there's some little bit details, since it wasn't really a case I deep dove going through all the but you know what, I might get the files and stuff and then go through all of it, but it wasn't one that I got all the files and went through every little detail of all the evidence. I watched the trial, but I missed the last a week or two of the trial, the defense's case I missed. But anyway, so it says the only plausible explanation for blood on his trouser leg, which could only have drained from his nose if was seated. The crease in the jean trouser leg proves he was seated as the blood drained out on the jeans trouser leg, then dripped droplets into his shoe. That is actually a good point. So where else if there's blood right here, he wasn't bleeding on his legs, was he, or on his feet, right? He didn't have any open cuts on his legs or feet, right? Blood would come from. It would have to have came from his face or nose or whatever. What did they say? Blood drained out of his nose or wherever, dripped from his face, his back of his head. But if he got hit by the car, and their theory is when he got hit, he hit the back of his head and he was knocked out, instantly, pretty much dead, right? He was knocked out. So how would the blood get there? You know what I'm saying? This is a really good point, that he would have had to sit up and drip on it, or could not have been dead right away to get that blood down there, because there was no cuts down there, right? So I thought that was kind of interesting. That's actually a good point. What do you guys think? Nobody's saying anything about the stuff I'm talking about. I want to know your thoughts, guys. Mamma mia! Yay! You made it. Any thoughts though on that? I thought that was actually an excellent point. Yeah, right. That's a no for me too. Anyway. Well, I guess I'll just have to not get your guys' thoughts on it. But if you guys want to, I just thought that was interesting. And then this was, shoot, I forgot to get the whole thing where it shows why they're posting it or what it is. So this is, I don't remember what this list was about Jen, but I forget how they title this. So Proctor misquoted Jen, McCabe on his report. Lank misquoted Jen, McCabe in his report. Jen's phone was wrong about the Google time. Oh, I guess it's every time she said if somebody else was wrong or something was wrong, right? So Jen's phone was wrong about the Google time. Jen's phone deleted the Google search. Jen's phone answered calls from her sister, not her. Jen's phone butt dialed O'Keefe's phone 7 times. Life 360 was wrong about where Jen's daughter was. Jen was at Proctor's house to bond with his wife. Jen was at Lank's house to talk to his wife. Julie Albert found out OJO was dying. Wait, Julie. When Jen called at her at 4:55 a.m. but Jen didn't tell her that. Wait, what? Julie Albert found out. They're talking about John, right? Was dying when Jen called her at, or wait, what? Oh, J.A. was dying when Jen called her at 4:55 a.m. But Jen didn't tell her that. I don't know. Jen said she never went in the house until she was caught on camera. She's caught on camera. Why is it? It's comical because it's so ridiculous. They did that. Okay, and then next one. Oh, look, somebody posted this in the group. They went to have a smoothie somewhere, and on the receipt it said free Karen Reed. Isn't that cool? Somebody that supports her, like on their freaking receipt. And look at this picture of her. Look of her team, like all the people involved, huh? Brother, dad, like I don't even know who some of these people are, but I'm sure they're all helping, huh? And then here is a statement from Canton Select Board Chair John McCourt. Canton. The following is a statement from Canton Select Board Chair John McCourt. The town of Canton acknowledges today's verdict in the Commonwealth's case against Karen Reed. The town respects the legal process and the role of the jury in weighing the facts and rendering a verdict. We thank the members of the jury for their service and attention over the past several weeks. This case has been the subject of intense public interest, scrutiny, and speculation for 3 years. Our community has been deeply affected. Today's outcome may bring a sense of relief to some and continue to raise questions for others. We encourage members of the community to move forward together, treating one another with respect through civil, constructive dialogue. A message from the town of Canton. Okay. So that was on Wednesday, right after, or the day of the verdict. Okay, and then what is this? Oh, that's Travis Decker. I have that in the wrong file. And then this was an old post, but I had seen it earlier, and then I was like, you know what? I want to read it because it's interesting. But this is supposedly one of the jurors' foreman, maybe from the last trial, right? Shoot, Laura's not here anymore. But look what it says about him. So it says, meet Ryan, the juror who promised a mistrial before the trial even began. So that was for the first trial, right? This man wasn't the foreman. He wasn't. Or no, this man wasn't just the foreman in the Karen Reed trial. He was a roadblock to justice. Multiple sources say Ryan bragged about having a direct line to ADA Adam Lally and even promised him a hung jury. And once deliberations started, he delivered exactly that. He refused to relay a question from the fellow jurors to the judge. Can we acquit on 2 charges and hang on the 3rd? Instead, he told them it had to be all or nothing. Nothing. Completely false. One juror said the foreman led us to believe we didn't have a choice. He also misled his fellow jurors about ARCA. He knew ARCA was hired by the feds, not Karen's insurance company. Just another win, he reportedly laughed about the Lally. He reportedly laughed about with Lally along with others who are now spilling the tea. The truth always leaks, especially when your circle isn't as loyal as you think. He left the verdict slip blank, even though as a former cop, he knew he could send a note to the judge asking for clarification, but he didn't because a mistrial was the plan. And yes, he was obviously leaking information during deliberations to Lally. Those private jury room updates were showing up in real time through Commonwealth aligned accounts. That's not deliberating, that's coordinating. Oh, and let's not forget, Ryan isn't just a former cop who himself was hit by a vehicle. He's a physician assistant in vascular surgery, someone trained to recognize the difference between blunt force trauma from a car, dog bite wounds, punctures, tearing, and identifiable patterns. He knows what hit John O'Keefe, and it wasn't a car. He just didn't care. And no, Ryan didn't get a lawyer because he was afraid of Turtle Boy's fists. He lawyered up because he was afraid of Turtle Boy's facts. He knew Aiden had thousands of sources, and if anyone could connect the dots and expose his role in this disgrace, was Turtle Boy. This man took an oath in medicine, and as a juror, he broke both. Ryan obstructed justice, manipulated his peers, leaked inside information, and helped derail a trial. The medical board should be informed, so should the public, because integrity and truth still matter, even when the Commonwealth pretends they don't. And the engineer on the jury, what exactly was his role? Here's someone whose professional training should have made it crystal clear that the evidence didn't support guilt on any count, yet he still went along with it. So what does this tell us? Either he was Team Commonwealth from the beginning, or he's a terrible engineer who might want to consider a new line of work. Okay. And I think that was everything. Here's that picture of them two. Oh, this was in the Facebook group, but they were talking about how this matches the back of the head injuries of John, but I don't understand. Like, yeah, I mean, I could see that, yeah, a piece of wood, yeah, that could probably, I mean, that could have done it, but they're saying it matches exactly. I don't get why. Like, it's almost like they're saying that there's like a certain pattern that's exactly the same, but it's just wood right there, which, yeah, it could have caused that, but I don't, am I missing something of why it's so significant? I mean, yeah, he could have hit his back of his head on that, but is there something that's like so specific to this that I'm missing is what I'm trying to say. So one has this circle and one has that. I mean, maybe they're saying because it kind of looks like it's like dented in a little bit. I don't know if that's what they're trying to say, or like there's like a piece of wood off of this. So yeah, I don't know. And no, there's obviously not blood. They didn't keep blood, and there's no way they sold the house that kept blood in there. That's probably paint. Some people were like, "There's blood." It's like, there's no way they're gonna freaking keep a puddle of blood and then sell the house like that. This is supposedly in the garage. It's got to be just a paint. Okay, so that's that. So let's watch the other interviews now. So I have I have a quick little which I've been looking for the full interview of this, but I can't find it yet. I'm gonna go on the website, but here is both of her parents, a sit-down interview where this is just a couple minutes we could watch here. I guess I should have played this before I read all that stuff, because I feel like I lost a lot of people. People hate hearing my voice. Hold on, I'm messing up here. I can't even find you guys. Okay. There we go. Man, I moved over the wrong thing. All right. Here we go.
I feel like I'm floating. That's what Karen Reed's mom said a short time ago. Reed's parents gave 25 investigators reporter Ted Daniel their first sit-down interview since Reed was acquitted of her most serious charges. And Ted joins us now in studio. Ted, you traveled south to speak to the Reeds.
Yeah, Mark, we spoke to Bill and Janet Reed at their home in Dighton, where Karen has also been living. They just returned from Boston Seaport, where they spent the night with their daughter and her team celebrating until 2 a.m.
Alan Jackson came up to me moments before that jury came in, and he squeezed my back and he said, looked at my wife and I said, he said, guys, we got this.
Bill and Janet Reed, 24 hours after the verdict heard across the country.
I knew then I only had to hear one not guilty, and I knew it was going to be okay. And I grabbed Bill and Nathan. They were sitting outside of me just to hold them, and their arms were both shaking.
Bill Reed says the cheers outside the courthouse did not go unnoticed.
When they erupted, it made me proud to be an American. You know, that people were behind us. And when it erupted and filtered through that courtroom.
Janet Reed tells me she hopes her daughter is able to get time away from Massachusetts. She says the 1-year probation she received for her drunk driving conviction does not prevent her from leaving the state.
I mean, it has to be the most expensive DUI conviction in the history of prosecutions, right?
I can't think of one that's even close.
Defense attorney and law tuber Peter Tragos says the O'Keefe family can still pursue their wrongful death lawsuit against Reed in civil court. He believes the civil case would be stronger had Reed been convicted of murder.
If they would have got this conviction, it's a slam dunk case, and they're just trying to prove how much. What is it worth? What is John O'Keefe's life worth? They would have just been arguing about damages if this would have been a guilty verdict.
The O'Keefe family has a much different view of what happened. They believe Karen Reed got away with murder. Reed herself with her family members and legal team in Boston still when we spoke with her parents. I'm Ted Daniel for your local station, Boston 25 News.
Ted.
Okay. Okay. Let me play the next one. I'm going to play the brothers interview real quick. Oh, shoot. Let me exit out of that before I play something else. Okay. So here is Karen's dad and brother interview. Wait, did I not have it? Did I not have that last one playing? Dang it. Did I not share that last? Please tell me you guys were just watching the screen with nothing playing. Hold on a second. Dang it. I gotta see. I'm sorry if that's the case. Hold on a second. Well, sorry, I'm putting up my YouTube. No, I had it playing good. Okay. It's like, were you guys just watching nothing? I must have just took it down. Okay, sorry. Okay, here we go.
We have some celebrations yesterday. How are we feeling right now?
Go ahead.
Relieved. First and foremost, proud. Karen, proud of this legal team, proud of my parents. That.
Still numb. You know, you after living 3.5 years of this nightmare, this terror, this fright, up against this power of the state, its unlimited resources to come after you. It's a nightmare. It's been hell, as I've said on many, many occasions. And right now, to have it over, it seems surreal. We were up till 2:30, 3 o'clock at the seaport. We're tired, we're numb, but we're so grateful. We're so blessed to Almighty God that, we have this outcome. Yeah.
When you're sitting in or standing maybe in the courtroom, waiting for that outcome, what's going through your mind? Can you kind of walk me through your internal thoughts there?
Well, it's very, it's something I would not wish on anyone who has a loved one, whether it be a significant other or a child. And the child can be 45, as in Karen's case, or it can be 15 or whatever it may be. I mean, so many days. You think of the first trial went on for multiple months. There have been multiple hearings. And now the second trial, multiple months, multiple witnesses over the course of the last 2+ years. And you see these court officers, and they're very professional, very kind, very accommodating. Good morning, have a nice weekend, so on and so forth. But in that moment when it's announced the jury has a verdict, you'll see 2 or 3 of those officers come behind your daughter and stand there. And their position is to be sure that if a guilty is announced and it carries with it a likely imprisonment, that they're going to immediately cuff her. And that idea of embracing her or holding her and being able to kiss her and walk out with her is gone. That is unnerving. And I've always felt that. And that's why we marshaled every resource we could, drained every account we could, galvanized every effort among women who really started a lot of this, because many of them have felt objectified, dehumanized, victimized, not respected, and have identified with Karen that grace, that fight, that resolve to not give up. And I tell you, if it had not been for them, they're in the thousands. And I've met many, I won't say I've met thousands, but I've met several hundred women at standouts outside of court. And I'll say to them, thank you so much. And I'll hear things, I wish I would have had a father like you. And I'll say to them, I'm sure you did. And they'll say, no, you didn't. I said, well, with all respect, the fact that you're here, there has to be some DNA imparted on you that came from him. So be proud of, your dad. And I mean that, So the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, but we're grateful. Everything comes to an end, and this nightmare is over, and so gratified and so fortunate we had this great team of lawyers. I mean, as you saw them, they're just so passionate, so smart, so dedicated, and have so much fight, so much resolve. We're very, very fortunate. And when you think of the Sandra Birchmore case that happened in Norfolk County, investigated by some of the same who were part of the Karen Reed case. And I'm not going to, deceive myself into thinking Karen Reed and Sandra Birchmore are two outliers on a data point curve, and that there are not others who have been victimized, but maybe haven't been as lucky and as blessed as we have to have this movement and to have these attorneys so smart, so dedicated to fight for Karen's freedom. And
Karen's right there with them. She really is. She's so strong, and in many ways, she's a leader of this movement as well. They see a bit of themselves in Karen, whether it be just their gender or what she's gone through. But the lawyers have talked about it, whether it be Alan, David, Bob, Liza, all of them have talked about how Karen is really an integral part of this defense team. And she was from the very beginning.
Have you talked to Karen today?
Oh, sure.
We were with her this morning, we were with her last night in the Seaport.
Right.
And we talked to her a couple of times today.
How's she feeling?
Elated. She's just waking up today from a nightmare. She was telling us when she went back after court yesterday and after the verdicts and her freedom, and she went back to her hotel room where the entire defense team was staying and looked at her various attire, her suits that she wears, and she said, okay, the immediate thought was, what am I going to wear tomorrow? And it just hit her. Oh, there is no more tomorrow. So, just so happy for her and so proud of her. And we're blessed. We're blessed that the good Lord has seen this to a justifiable end, for sure.
Nathan, I asked you this question earlier too. What's next for Karen? Maybe a book in the works, or what are we thinking here?
I don't know what she's going to do. I think a book is a possibility, about these experiences, her life, her story.
Plenty to write about.
Yeah, and even before this, what she's done for a living and her health issues that she's had, those challenges make for quite a story. And then you add in, obviously, these legal issues and the family and everything. I think there's a book there somewhere down the road.
Do you think she'll stay in the area?
I don't know. That's up to her. We'd love her, whatever she wants to do.
Yeah.
Whatever she wants to do. She wants to go to California, Florida, stay in New England, it's her call.
Go to Australia.
Travel, do something.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. I noticed, Bill, and really, as I walked up here, it's all about getting back to normal. You guys are doing the yard work. You're working around the house. Is this the first time you've really been able to do these things?
Well, it's the first time this week, and it's the first time in the three and a half years, whether it be plowing this driveway or whether it be doing lawn work last year or spreading mulch. It's the first time I've done anything leisurely in 3.5 years where I haven't had in the recesses of my mind that threat that I could lose Karen. And that's very comforting. That's the power of Almighty God.
We talked about it just an hour or two ago. The difference feels like you can actually put your phone down today and not worry, is there, a concerning call or text coming through. And today feels, I don't want to speak for my father, but it feels like there's that relief thereof. It's okay. If I miss the call, everything's probably okay.
Yeah. No parent, no loved one should experience what I've experienced, and my wife and my son here just should not. The justice system should be in place that at various levels there are gatekeepers who evaluate the evidence, who evaluate the strength or weaknesses of the case, and make an astute, informed, and proper decision. And when you think of what's happened in this case, the Department of Justice, federal government was involved, provided 3,000 plus pages. Also the ARCA, the scientists from Pittsburgh and Philadelphia area, who concluded based on their independent study that the injuries to John O'Keefe were not the result of being struck by that vehicle, nor was the damage to the vehicle the result of striking a 6'1", 216-pound individual. And then it was the Department of Justice that also provided you with the infamous Proctor text. And then with all of that, they still go forward. And then on March 19th, 12 days before retrial 2 launches, they fire the lead detective. They fire him, the lead detective. And we still had to be put through the ringer. People may say it's absurd, it's scandalous. In our position, it's frightful.
It's scary. Truly.
And so nobody. And I would tell everyone who can watch this, take back your government. Get out there and vote. Do not be apathetic. Get out there and make your vote count and hold your leaders accountable. And if you don't like what you see, hold them accountable by changing your vote and going elsewhere. But that's the power of America, the power of your vote. There are 800,000 people living in Norfolk County, the richest county in Massachusetts, by the way. And my understanding is only 70,000 of them, less than 10%, voted in the last election. So it's important. Get out there and take back, make your voices heard.
Good sentiment.
Yeah.
Anything else that you guys want to say that I have not asked?
I would say in regards to the supporters,
Yes.
They put us over the top. That level of support, what we heard in that courtroom yesterday, when you're in there, there's a 3 to 5 minute delay between what's said there and what's maybe coming through on the TV or on radio and what people are hearing outside on their phones. And when we heard not guilty and the crowd goes nuts, it was palpable. It came through your body. It was like Mick Jagger or Taylor Swift came out on stage at Gillette and the place went nuts. I mean, Mass State Police told us as we were leaving, there were better than 3,000 people outside, supporters just lining the streets, security everywhere. It's amazing. That's because of Karen. That's because of her story. That's because of the team and her supporters. So a huge thank you to her supporters. And I know a ton of them come out of Rhode Island. We see it. We've seen it at standouts in Rhode Island. I work in Rhode Island. I see it constantly. So all around New England, all around the globe.
Yeah, to hear that applause and it reverberate through that courtroom and everybody heard it. It was just one of the few times over the last 3+ years I was proud to be an American. I said, this is what it's about. Thank God I had them, behind me. It was just, gave you goosebumps when it just riveted through the court and it was unmistakable. And when we came out, it was just
all over again.
Yeah, all over again. Yeah.
Alan Jackson said to us, he hugged us in another courtroom before we walked out. And he just looked at us and he went, I'll never forget that sound.
Yeah.
And we won't either.
Gives me chills as you're explaining it now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anything else that you guys want to say?
Thanks for making the story part of your broadcasts, in your newscasts. And then I know you typically run some special focus of it, in maybe the 7 o'clock hour with Gene Valicenti and Katie Benoit. So we appreciate that. The more people learn about it and then they do their own investigation, 90% come to the same conclusion. Karen Reed was and is factually innocent. So thank you.
Okay. One second. I think that's all I have to say. What is that? Wait, hold on a second. What is that? I might have another thing. This is just, wow, another interview. This is a different one, right? Hold on a second. Wait, look at this. What is this here? Hold on. Is this a different one?
Genius. The island looks a lot like it did 50 years ago.
It's the same ferry.
Same
The same ferry we're on.
From this fateful scene with the film's despicable mayor.
You yell shark. We've got a panic on our hands on the 4th of July.
James Haggerty leads the town today.
Do you bristle a little bit at the depiction?
I do sometimes, and people often give me that 1974 sport jacket with the anchors.
Sick vandalism.
Beyond the terror, Jaws is really a hero story.
Fire, you son of a...
It may be 50.
I think the tide's with us.
But it never gets old.
Keep kicking.
Stephanie Gosk, NBC News, Martha's Vineyard.
And you can watch a special showing of Jaws tonight right here at 8 p.m. Eastern on NBC. View at your own risk. All right, that's Nightly News for this Friday. Remember, tonight and always, we're here for you. I'm Tom Yamas. Have a great weekend.
Make sure to record NBC Nightly News.
Oh, wait, hold on. Here it is. Hold on.
What other cases could be judged like this?
Tonight, another juror breaks her silence.
What broke her heart the moment the verdict was announced? Plus,
they were by her side every step of the way. Tonight, Karen Reed's parents weighing in on what happened and what's next.
The jurors from the retrial of Karen Reed are starting to speak out. Good evening, everyone. I'm JC Monahan.
and I'm Glenn Jones. Tonight, we're hearing from a second juror who shared what it was like to decide Reed's fate. She spoke with our courtroom insider, Sue O'Connell.
What did you know about the Karen Reed case before you started hearing evidence?
I know she had a billboard on Route 1. Every time I go grocery shop, I see Free Karen Reed. That's all I knew about her and her name. I also saw some lounge that has signs Free Karen Reed, but didn't strike me to go search and understand what it was. So I had no clue what crime or what she did, who she was, who John was, nothing.
Who do you think did a good job on the defense side and for making the case, and who do you think didn't help or made it worse?
Dr. La Posada, for me, was very good in the ARCA witness. I now know that they didn't want us to hear the ARCA professionals. They made it just clear and easy for a regular person like me to understand what really happened with data, with the videos, with the dummy, what the weight of the dummy. That discussion was so unnecessary.
How was your reaction to hearing the text messages former Trooper Proctor sent to his friends?
There was some wording that made me feel disgusted and upset. It's not that you don't have the same reaction if it was him reading. It's like just like Karen Reed and Brian Higgins text message. If it was him reading or her, it's not about who is reading, it's about the content. Okay, at that point when that friend came and read all the text messages, we already knew that Michael Proctor was a police officer who was fired, who was being accused of corruption or framed Karen Reed, whatever. So we already expect that something bad would come from this guy. So that's why I think you didn't see a shocking expression on our faces.
Talk to me about the reaction when the verdict was read and the crowd outside screamed and cheered?
To be honest with you, I don't remember what happened in that courtroom that day, that moment, because once I heard the people outside, I just closed my eyes and I started crying, and I left the courtroom without looking to anyone. I did not expect to hear it because through the whole trial, we didn't hear anything on a jury room. We did not saw many people outside because we come from the back of the courthouse. So we would see someone walk with a pink shirt here and there, but that was it. Never hear chanting or comments or laughing or yelling or booing, nothing. And it's particular to me when I heard that people screaming out of happiness. At the same time, I was seeing John O'Keefe's family crying out of sadness, and that broke my heart. So that moment, I kind of understood how big this case was and how we're making someone happy, and we're making a lot of other people sad too. So I don't remember what happened in the courtroom that moment. I just closed my eyes and cried.
Sue is back with us tonight, along with defense attorney Morgietta Dourcier. Sue, what stood out to you the most about what Paula had to say?
How focused she said she and all the jurors were on the O'Keefe family, and how they really felt very early into deliberation. She says that there was just not enough evidence to support the Commonwealth's claims that Karen Read hit John O'Keefe and caused his death, and how the weight of how that was going to impact the O'Keefes, really like staring at them for 40 days while they were thinking about adjudicating this. It really, really stayed with her. And I think that her heartfelt expression, she was very careful, Paula was, not to speak for the other jurors, but she did say she felt this collective grief around having to deliver this verdict, which they believe was right and just, and also having to harm the O'Keefes.
So I was struck by her comments about hearing the people outside cheer after the jury delivered its verdict, which is so different from Ronald in the first trial, who told us during deliberations they could hear the people outside. So we know that them intentionally staying quiet made a difference between the deliberation process.
Yeah, it did indeed. And also because of the buffer zone and the way it worked in the beginning, and fewer people were there, and the way they came in, they never saw any of it or heard any of it. Remember, and Karen also and her team were not staying on site. They were at that church across the street. They were all the way over by Route 1. So every time Karen or her team came and went, there was no cheering. So I remember when the verdict was read and the cheer came up, I saw the jurors just look around like, what's going on, you know? And so when we talk about how could they find people who don't know anything about the case, or how can they not know what's going on outside? This is how justice gets done.
Morgietta, what did you think of what this juror had to say?
I think the best thing about what she said is how seriously you could tell all the jurors took this case. And everyone said, how are they going to not know? How are they not going to Google? But they went to that room and they knew that they had a job to accomplish, and that was to take the evidence in, analyze it based upon what they saw in the courtroom, what they heard over the last 40 days, and make a decision. And you can even tell that they're smart, they paid attention, some took notes, some didn't, but this is how jury systems are supposed to work. So I think it's really refreshing to know that this juror and the other juror that came out, and I'm sure all of them, took their job very seriously.
Many trial watchers found the testimony of Boston police officer Kelly Dever fascinating, even shocking. Turns out Paula felt the same way.
Officer Dever was scary, to say the least. She sold a vibe of being so desperate and angry to everyone, like a child complaining and fighting with their mom. I mean, I just feel like unsafe to have a person with that level of immaturity carrying a gun among us.
Dever took the stand on June 2nd, you might remember. She was a defense witness. At the time of Reed's arrest, she worked as a police officer in Canton. On the stand, she was resistant, almost hostile at times, and often answered with long silences. She even said she didn't know why she was called to testify in the first place.
You've never talked to me. Nobody on the fence team's talked to me since prior to the first trial. So I don't have any idea why I'm here.
Clearly, Dever's testimony did very little to restore faith in law enforcement. Morgietta, I wonder if that is precisely the reason the defense called this witness, to continue this narrative about bad cops, because if that was the case, it seems as if it worked, at least with Paula.
So I'm going to be honest. I don't think they thought that she was going to be that way on the stand, because remember that day they went to a sidebar really, really quickly and asked Judge Cannoni to treat her as a hostile witness. But as great defense attorneys, they turned that around really quickly, and clearly the jury could see, okay, this person is starting to do something that I don't think anybody planned for her to do. But you're right. It went directly to the narrative of, we talked about the blue wall, and she clearly conveyed that in her stance, not only in what she said, but how she said it. She said she was trying to protect her career. So that message got loud and clear. And they were already talking about a conspiracy and what the police did and didn't do. So it only furthered that narrative.
Of course, that witness was recanting a story about Chief Berkowitz and Higgins being in the Sally.
Do you remember any reaction in the courtroom when Devers was on the stand?
Yeah, I wasn't in the courtroom that day, but my colleagues who were there said it was. Remember, she was very early in the defense's case, right? So it was the first really stressful testimony of a defense witness, because former Trooper Proctor's friend was up and had read the text messages, but had been very easygoing about it, said he didn't want to do it, but was respectful and polite. And then a police officer gets up, and they said it was just you could see the jury just wondering what this witness was doing for the defense and why this police officer was being so oppositional.
All right, and we also heard about comments from this juror on the testimony from State Police Sergeant Yuri Buchanan. You may remember Sergeant Buchanan testified for 3 days last month. Most of it was under cross-examination. As a key investigator in the case, Buchanan was asked repeatedly about the integrity of the police investigation. So it turns out the juror, Paula, sat fairly close to that witness stand, and she did notice something.
Sometimes I could see him making a fist, and he was really uncomfortable with some questions. Felt to me that he was very protective of his job and his colleagues. He's probably a good representative of the blue wall.
Okay, the blue wall, you just heard, and Morgietta, you just brought up the blue wall, this idea that officers are going to protect their own, even if there's some misdeed or misconduct about it. What did her assessment say to you?
I think it said what a lot of people have said throughout this case, is that when you're looking at a murder investigation, you have to have the key players doing their job. We had the neighbor across the street who had the Ring camera, who was an officer. The person who owned the home where the body was found was an officer. And now you have officers throughout this trial who are visibly, disturbed by some of the simple questions that they were being asked. When we look at the other experts testifying, even one of the experts that had the misstep with his resume, I mean, he owned up to it. It wasn't great, but he didn't really, Sharon Birch, he didn't really, clench his fist. He was just like, yep, it's a lie. There it is. It is what it is. But you have someone who's visibly combative, and you have somebody who's making faces and fists. The jury's going to read right through that. And then you have the defense weaving in conspiracy, police officers not doing their job, reasonable doubt. It all just kind of ties in.
Plenty of questions for Buchanan centered around Michael Proctor, the lead investigator and now former state police trooper. But Proctor never took the stand in the second trial. That's something Paula noticed but didn't mind.
I didn't mind not seeing him because he was already fired, and everybody else did a good job of bringing his role in investigation to us.
This one is really interesting, Sue, because so many of our legal analysts thought it was a mistake not to call Michael Proctor. At least in this situation right here, it seemed not to have a negative impact.
Well, no, what she said later on, too, is she just kept writing down Proctor, Proctor, Proctor. And then she's like, where is this guy? Why am I writing down his name? And then when she found out that he was fired and it was related to the case, everything that had Proctor's name next to it then came into question. So not having him testify again, we'll never know. If he came on, maybe he could have redeemed himself, or the defense would have had a second shot at him. But he was associated as something bad, his name was, and it was all throughout her notebook.
Morgietta, this leads us to a viewer question we want to get to about Proctor. Richard from Belchertown wants to know, can Michael Proctor hire an attorney and try to overturn his dismissal from the Commonwealth State Troopers Department? In case you missed it, in last night's Dateline, it focused on the Karen Reed case. They spoke with Proctor, who you see there, who says he wants his job back. What do you think, Morgietta?
I think he should have an attorney just on retainer, because this is something that's definitely not going to be going away. And I'm sure as he's doing these interviews, he's getting advice from legal counsel. But I mean, if he is going to try to get back his job, it's going to be really difficult, because what we're talking about here is not so much all the text messages, but it's the way the investigation was conducted and the duties that he was sworn to uphold, and whether or not he breached those duties. And I think based upon what we've seen in trial 1 and all the information that came out in trial 2, there was a breach of that duty, and that duty was to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And how do you overturn that? It's going to be really difficult when this is a live, public trial where the information is right there, so it's
And
it's
not
gonna
the
be
only
hard.
trial that
And
he's
not the only
associated
trial,
with.
exactly.
All right, Morgietta, Sue, don't go anywhere. We are hearing from Karen Reed's parents after the break.
This is Canton Confidential, the Karen Reed murder trial.
Oh, wait, hold on. So their parents? Okay, wait, is this let's see something. Hold on.
I don't know what will become of our lives. I don't think we'll ever go back
Oh,
to
there they are.
where we were prior to January 29th, 2022.
The events of the past few days have finally sunk in. The legal war they waged and helped finance on behalf of their daughter, Karen Reed, starting to become a memory.
Whatever you didn't think could happen, happened. Like every day somebody go, what's going on? This is crazy. I've never seen that in a case before. Those were things, it was always like a shock. It never went smooth.
But one thing is certain, they say. They are filled with gratitude for the outcome of Reed's second trial, for sure, but also for those they met along the way.
We always say after we've met a lot of people that we don't know if we could do what they did for us. But now I think I could, because I know what it meant to us. And if I could do that for somebody else.
Also remembered, Boston police officer John O'Keefe, who died on January 29, 2022. At the time, O'Keefe and Reed were dating. Reed's acquittal on charges related to his death, only leading to more questions about what happened. O'Keefe's family declining to speak on Thursday when an NBC 10 reporter stopped by, saying there will be a time for that. The time, just not now. Reed's family also trying to ensure some good comes out of the toll of the last 3 years.
To avoid this happening to your loved one, your significant person in your life, and it can happen to anyone, take back your government. Get out there and vote. That's your power. Don't let there be another Karen Reed down the road.
And they went on to say their daughter, Karen Reed, remains in a hotel room up in Boston, trying to figure out what's next. And if that what's next includes remaining here in New England after everything that has happened. In Canton, Eli Rosenberg, NBC 10 Boston.
Back with us now is Morgietta and Sue. We know this case cannot be tried again, but it also leads to lingering questions for those who believe that Karen Reed is innocent. Then can it be reopened? Can they look for new evidence so that they could try to find?
Sorry, 37. You guys, everybody left. Okay. Well, all right, y'all. I won't bore you anymore with this. I should have just ended it before this video. Mind seeing who? Mama Mia. You said I wouldn't mind seeing him too? Who? I don't know, Becky. What was it? What was like the goal? I'll do a little wind down. What was the goal for the GoFundMe? I saw a video where they were doing, this was before right before the trial started, they were doing a giveaway, like where I think you donate and then you get in a giveaway, like a chance to have dinner with them or lunch or something like that with them or something. So I think that was to help raise money, which that's a good idea, it really is. So how much money? Oh, wow, that's the last. Nobody even commented after that. All right, guys. Who's all here? Say hi. Like people that are still watching that aren't in chat. I like to see new people that are watching that don't chat. Like the ones that never chat. Say hi. Let's get some new people in chat. Or at least to say hi. Who's all here? So we could say hi to you. I guess only if you want to. I mean, you don't have to. All right, guys. Hey, Betty. Dharma Hore. Bay Blues 89. Susan Peterson, Becky P, Mama Mia, Sal that gal. I like that name. Sal that gal. Sal that gal. That's fun to say. Sal that gal. Cicely, Marnie, Becky. That rhymed. All right, I'm gonna go wash my hair and clean up. And just I like to say bye to people, and then I get stuck where it's repeating people where I don't have anybody new to say bye to. What are you saying? Bye. I don't know where all Sane's been. Hey JT. I actually texted him. I don't know. He hasn't been here in the last 2 lives. Soul or Casey, do you know? This is the second live, and normally he's like usually here. So I don't know. Maybe is he on vacation? No, because he had a vacation like last month, or I remember when he was on vacation, unless if he's on 2 vacations. I don't know. Hey Ronnie Hoskins. And I don't know though, because I mean it's 8, so he wouldn't be working. Hopefully he's all right. Has anybody heard from him in the last couple of days? Because the last live was yesterday, he wasn't there, and today, so it would just be the last couple days that I was like, "Where is he?" Because then before that, I didn't do a live for a few days, but the last couple of days, yeah, he wasn't here. Last night and tonight. I don't know. What about Mama Mia? You talked to him, right? Have you heard from him? Looks like Mama Mia, you're the only one here, right? I don't know if Casey's still here. Mod-wise, I mean. Sorry, I know. All right, guys, have a good one. I'm gonna go clean up and try to get ready to do Brian. But I don't know because hey, Susan. Yeah, I would like to. I wanted to share that part that I wanted to share about Koberger. The part. Remember, I was looking it up yet last night. I was trying. What was that last night? I did the live, right? Dude, my days blend together. Now I'm thinking, was that 2 nights ago or last night? Whenever I did my last live, I was I think it was last night. I was trying to look for something and I found it. So what I was gonna do is it's not enough to do a whole live on it. It just take me like a minute or a couple minutes because I want to explain my possible theory. And then I was like, okay, so I'll do an open panel. But Real T, I don't know, she's not here, so I don't even know if anybody will join the panel because the last open panel the first one I had nobody, and then the one after that I had one person. So it's like I'm gonna do one, and if nobody comes, it'll just be like a really short live, I guess. You guys try to share my videos. If you like, Facebook will really help. I always see like people sharing like everybody's channel on Facebook, but never mind. And I feel like if I shared my own, they'd get mad because I don't know if that's allowed to share your own. So like, if you guys want to help me out, if you want to share, like, like in relevant, like Facebook groups, for instance, if there's like a video I'm covering with the group that they're talking about it, help share, if you like it, not just any video, but if there's like pick a good one that you like about the video, like about, video that you like about the case, that you think I did good, and help me share it around, guys. That would be really helpful. It actually is extremely helpful. One time I think it was it Soul, I don't know. She did one time for me, and I noticed a huge, like, do you know how much that helps in views? Like thousands, like holy crap. That's probably why like a lot of channels get thousands, because like if you go in Facebook groups, people are sharing other channels like crazy. And I never see anybody share mine. But like I said, she had shared the one and I knew when she did it and it freaking helped so much. So that would help me out, guys, because I am struggling with getting some views and um I know, and it sucks because it makes me like feel hard to be motivated to do it, which I should just like really just keep doing it really harder, but it's just sometimes it's like harder to put a it's just I don't know. Sometimes it is unmotivating, but I'll get there hopefully. I just need to find a case that people want to watch me for. I still can't. I got rejected on the last files request, so I'm struggling with finding some good files. Um, it's crazy, like how like you could order some on some cases, then others are like, nope, you can't have that. You can't have that. That's not public. It's privacy violation, or not violation, but it's like, well, yeah, but on other cases you could get like it was like incident reports, uh like messages. I tried everything. They're like, oh nope, that's something of privacy or whatever. And the way they worded it was like such strong words, and it's like that's crazy because like some cases it is public, for a lot of cases. I mean, it's hard to find them sometimes, but like think about like, how many channels like phone calls from prison and gets the phone calls, and like there's channels you say get messages or incident reports. I mean, there's a lot of cases that accept it as public record, but just I don't know which ones. I'm trying. I feel like I've been getting rejected for everything I've been putting in. Um so I have that list of cases. I haven't looked into them yet. The cases you guys recommended. Um but wait, guys, I still need uh let's some help getting some of those calls. What was it? Rosemary. Um I forget who I ordered. There was like Rosemary, uh Yang. I feel like there's like 5 or 6. I forget. I'll have to look at my list, but I'm so nervous that it's like Yang, for instance. I'm so nervous that there's gonna be like no picked up calls and it's gonna be all uh him trying to call. And like as I'm reading the messages with Yang, and there's nothing in it so far that it's not like it's clear that they even talked on the phone. And he's never responded when I asked. As far as I said, "Do you have phone calls?" He didn't answer that question. Um, and then Jen's, Vivian's friend, I don't know if he's called him, but that was another one on the list. But I'm getting nervous because when I'm reading some of these messages, it's sounding like maybe that they never did talk. That Vivian was trying to hook him up, but it never happened. And then I'm like, yeah, because I'm not even sure if Jen's exists, because Vivian has lied so much. It's like, was Jen's just some made up person that she made up to try to like, be like, oh, he's helping out, to give excuses and like to go along with some of her stories of why things aren't working out. I don't know. But she did give a phone number for him. So I'm just nervous that some of these people, there was never any conversations. That's all. But hopefully. Um, yeah. And Diane, yeah, and that's the other thing. It's like people were, like, "Whoa, get overweight," but it's like, I've been trying to order files, and there's so much available. There's still all those messages and phone calls that they are releasing. So it's like I'm getting rejected on all the other ones, and then those exist, and there's a lot of them. So it's hard not to just want to keep ordering them because everything. I mean, I can't find any other ones that freaking available. It's really making me mad. And it just takes time because I'm trying to like work, edit, I'm trying to do other stuff, but that's like so much work to try to like, first of all, see which cases you want to order and then figure out how to order them. And then you got to try to find the case number and find the information to order them. And it's just like, and then wait and get rejected. So it's like, dang it. It's just, I don't know. It's making me mad because I can't find any, and I can't think of like who else to order them because it's like, you want to find one that people are going to watch and be interested in because sometimes they're expensive. So first of all, if you take the time to, sometimes you got to get a hold of different people. If it's the wrong person, it could take time and energy, and you know what I'm saying, to get to the right place, right? And then like if it's expensive, it's like, shoot, like what if it's a case that like nobody really is going to watch, and then you just like wasted your time and money? Or is it a case that is already out there and everybody already seen a lot of the stuff and it won't be new stuff, so it's hard to try to find that case. It's like you want to do a big one because people are interested in the big ones, but then the big ones also are the ones that everybody already ordered the stuff, so it's hard to find something new. Does that make sense? So it's like I'm trying to weigh out all the options, but I am trying still, guys. But at least we got the Wade stuff. But that's the thing; those are so expensive that I'm not very good at like asking for donations. I hate doing that. It just comes across. I can't do it like naturally. So, and then when I get like criticism about it, like, oh, then it makes me turned off for asking. But then it's like it's gonna make it so either I'm go broke trying to do it or I just quit ordering it. So I'm just in a spot. It's like, what the heck do I do, man? Oh, I don't know. I gotta get that spark back with a case. I do. I think it's because like how low the views have been too, to get like taken away that like, oh, I must be, I just take it like what am I doing wrong here? So it's hard to get motivated, but I know I need to. I feel like if I find some like a good files request, I get them, then regardless of the views, even though of course, I mean, it's my job, so I have to want to do well, but like it'll it'll give me that passion back because I'll have something to go through, like new stuff to go through. And I'll just get like, you know what I'm saying? I was getting my zone, but yet I'm still looking, guys. I can't find that case to get into because nobody's letting me have the freaking files. No, he hasn't been found yet. Hasn't been found yet. It's crazy. I just can't even believe that. All right, guys, I'm gonna I have a couple ideas for as I'm talking. There's a couple things that I wanted to look into that I just thought like, shoot, I need to do that as far as to maybe order a couple random things. And then I want to see. Yeah, Becky, that's the thing. Like, I put so much time into that case. Like, I really did, but now I feel like it's something that I'm not allowed. I can't cover that. Like I have to stay away from that or I'll get judged if I go back to that case. But like that, so I just kind of stay away from it now. But I don't know, guys. I'll figure it out though. I just, eventually the case is gonna have to come through where I get accepted, and hopefully there'll be good stuff. But then the trial, like Koberger, I mean, of course, everybody's gonna be freaking covering the trial. There's gonna be so many freaking channels. It's crazy how many true crime channels there are now. So, that'll just kind of be for fun because I'm sure I won't get that many people that it won't like pay off to really do it. But if I'm watching it anyway, I might as well just live stream it. But hopefully I'll be able to, because yeah, that's gonna be interesting. I wonder how long that'll take to do. I'm trying to see. I want to see something. Hold on, content. Hold on 1 second. Live. When was that? How many days did I do the cure? Oh, okay, day 10. Wait, day 6. Oh, Lordy. All right. Well, I'll probably come back later. Hopefully, there'll be at least a couple people that come up on panel. I'm gonna look into some stuff. I know, that's what I need. I know. I have to. Just like, do I pick a big case or like a small case or? Well, we're gonna do Koberger. Yeah, maybe. When is that? I followed that right at the beginning when that was all going on. Like, what was it, 2 years ago? When they arrested Rex. I was into it. It was crazy. And then what was that first girl that sparked what was her name? The one that they think where she was on the 911 call? Can't remember her name now. But that makes me sick thinking about how many freaking people did he kill in that time span, because you see he was killing for like, what was, like 20, 30 years? I don't know at the time. It was decades. I don't know the exact amount of when like his first his first charge was. So can you imagine like how many he did? And then to know that the wife, wait, what was it about the wife? Remember, weren't they like swingers or something? Where he brought home? Remember that one, the one where he brought home the girl, and then supposedly the wife, like he went downstairs with her or something, and it was like, how didn't she hear? The girl he ended up killing the girl, but it was like, how was she not aware of it? I think she was. Yeah, no, most of them was when she went on vacation, Becky. But do you remember that one that came out? It was an affidavit that came out on, not an affidavit. What was it? It was that guy that's representing a lot of the girls. He put out like, I don't know if it was considered an incident report. I had read it on my channel. It was one of the girls that died. He brought her home with his wife, right? And there might have been 4 of them. I don't remember if there's 3 or 4. And then she ended up going to bed or something, and he took her downstairs, so she knew like he was with her. And then you tell me she hears that she's dead. Like, how didn't she hear something? I'll have to find that report. It just makes you think. I mean, like a lot of the times it lined up when she was on vacation, yeah. But that one time it wasn't. She was with them. So how many times? How many did he kill? So maybe not all the time. Maybe she was home some of the time. Um, I don't know, Casey. I have answered it. I said I don't know. Yeah, sorry. I said, yeah, probably. I have to look into some things and I don't know. Let me uh I don't know. Let me see how it goes and see if I'm gonna put maybe a community post up and see if like people I get a bite of people like interested to come up on panel. Because if not, and there's nobody gonna come up on panel, I might just do a short on my Coburger stuff because it'll probably take like 15 minutes to go over the Coburger stuff. And if nobody's gonna come up on panel, I don't really have anything else to share. So I'm gonna maybe do a community post and be like, let me know if you're interested in, and I'll see how many people come. Because if not, I feel like I'm just gonna be sitting up here rambling and nobody comes. uh 6 hours. Oh, it's 6 hours later there, Diane. Oh, whoa. Oh, hey Lisa. Thank you. So I guess I didn't answer. I answered, but I didn't you say yes or no because I don't know. I don't really know yet. I was going to, but it's like I don't know. Let me do a community post. I also want to do a community post about Midnight Lace. She never has anybody seen Midnight Lace anywhere? The one that won the giveaway? I didn't. I have to do the community post. I still have to do that post. I keep forgetting. But isn't that crazy? Why does that happen? Like Midnight Lace was in a lot. Like I remember seeing her often, and then just like I have autism was used to come in a lot. And then the minute they win the giveaway, like they disappear. They disappear. And I know one doesn't have anything to do with the other. It's not like they won, so they're purposely disappearing, but it's just a coincidence that they win. They actually won something. And then they decided to maybe take a break from YouTube or take a break from watching me when they have like a prize to win and they're gone. I have autism. Oh, she never collected it either. And I actually did the post on that. So I'm gonna do a post on Midnight Lace. If you guys has anybody has anybody seen I have autism around in the last month or two? I used to always see her, and then yeah, ever since she won, nope, I haven't seen her. It's so crazy. They could have a $25 gift card. I mean, it was not a ton, but I mean, it's free money. Oh, yeah? Yeah. Do you think the wife did, though? Do you remember what I'm talking about? Now you're gonna make me wanna find the document. I think it's on my other computer. The thing I read, it was really interesting. It's on my video. If you go to my Rex Huerman, playlist, or maybe I have it labeled as Long Island. Let me see, hold on. And I read it on there. Hold on, let me find it real quick. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Which makes me think, the wife, how didn't the wife know? I mean, I'm not saying the wife took part, but maybe the wife was scared or just turned a blind eye or, I don't know, because we know that one time she wasn't on vacation. Hold on, let me show you. What do I have it on? Hopefully, yeah, I think I have enough videos of it that I would have made a playlist on it. Yeah, right here. I only have 4 videos on it. Rex Huerman. But wonder if I have any that's hopefully I don't have it labeled as Long Island too and have them separate. Let me just make sure because why do I feel like I did more than 4? Huh. I might only have done 4. I feel like I covered a lot though. So I must have covered a lot in those 4 videos. All right. Okay, so no, it must just be the 4. All right, hold on one second. Okay, so it is. Hold on. True crime chat. Indictment. dude, there has to be one missing because the original one where I go over that first one, I swear, maybe it's mixed in with these lies. Okay, hold on. Let me see. I'm just gonna skim through to where there. Well, is this it? Here, let's see. I'll put this up to show you guys really quick. All right, this might be it right here where I read it. Let me see what this is. It is an affidavit, okay. I don't know if this is the one that I was talking about. Let me see. Defective pullback. Hold on, this might not be the one I was thinking of. I don't know. Swinger. Yeah, maybe it is. Hold on, this might be the one I'm talking about. Yeah, this is. Yes. Wait, I wish. Come on, it keeps. Yeah. Christmas tree. Everything she had was given to her. She was lucky that she was rich. Hold on. Oreos and sex partner, 300. Okay. His wife Asa posted contact information for them in the house. Yeah, this is it if you guys want to read it. To engage there in a swinger sex in 1996. I and RW chose to go there to the Huerman home, February 1996. I believe the woman I believe to be Karen. So it says RW picked up a woman I believe to be Karen Vergata in New York City on the way to the Huerman house. She was hungry and homeless. She sat in the back of the car. She leaned forward and to the right. When we stopped for gas, she said that she was scared. I told her not to be scared. RW was a cop and she couldn't be safer than being with a cop. I told her to ask at the house when we arrived to take a shower for food. We entered the Huerman home by walking around the side of it. It was in the night. It was dark. Karen went downstairs. I stayed upstairs with Asa, which is his wife. Can you guys hear me? My partner, who I believe was bisexual, kept disappearing. I believe he was elsewhere. So this is it, guys. If you guys want to check it out, if you're following that case, yeah, this is why I think that the wife may have been aware and just kind of turned a blind eye to it and just knew what he was doing, but just kind of didn't say, it's horrible, but I just shared the link. Okay, guys, I'm gonna go. Have a good one. Yeah, I'll try to come back. I'm gonna look up a couple things I wanted to order, and then I'll do a community post if you're interested in doing open panel. Respond, and we'll play it by ear then. All right, bye.